Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
And, Grumpy, you got to make sure you got your mic hooked up.
My mic is fine.
Oh, okay. It doesn't sound like it's hooked up, but that's fine. And with us here, as always, is Son X, reoccurring guest on the show, the magnificent Son X.
That's right. How's everybody doing?
Doing well, X. We've got here a show jam-packed with, I'd say, some pretty fantastic topics. But before we get the show started, if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is a twice-a-week all-sports podcast that takes place every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. Also, if you enjoy the content, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Apparently, it helps the algorithm. It helps get mine, the Grumpy Old Man, and Son X's word out to the masses is what it does. So make sure you leave a thumbs up also. Today, we've got, I'd say, quite a few topics to discuss. We're going to go ahead and talk about March Madness. The Final Four has been set in stone. And this is the first time in the seeding era that no team in the top 3 or better has made the Final Four. So you talk about a consortment of teams. My gosh, you got number 5, San Diego State, number 5, Miami. You've got number 4, UConn, number 9, FAU. So we're going to talk a little bit about the craziness, the comeback that we saw from Miami today against Texas as well. Nobody would have expected that. We'll talk a little bit about the NFL draft. There are some names that are still going to be moved. Haven't been moved yet, but are going to be moved closer to draft time. We're going to go ahead and discuss that. Who is going to be on the move? We're going to talk about the MLB opening day. There's some last minute I wouldn't call it last minute, but there are some players who happen to make their opening roster, the opening day roster, and just kind of those videos and reactions to it is quite entertaining, and I'd say wholesome to watch. We'll talk about Ken Griffey Jr. Going to be the 4th highest paid Cincinnati Red this season. We'll talk a little about that. And the NHL postseason. We'll talk a little about where that stands as of right now, as well as some NBA news. So we've got quite a bit to talk about here. Oh, and I don't think there's anything better to start off with. Let's start a little NFL action, because who doesn't love NFL? It's the Mac Daddy, Grumpy and X. Not sure if you guys happen to see Derek Wolfe went on the
Wolf. W-O-L-F-E is Wolf, not Wolf.
Derek
It's
Wolfe.
not a silent L. It's Wolf.
Derek Wolfe, baby. And here's the thing. He went on the Joe Rogan podcast. Some of you may remember Derek Wolfe used to be a really talented defensive end for the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
He used to be the opposite D end aside Von Miller. Used to rack up the sacks. Was a very, very, I'd say he was an important piece of that Denver team. Believe he won a Super Bowl as well that year that they beat the Carolina Panthers. He went on Joe Rogan's show and discussed a little bit this. Everybody remembered he went down limp, and he goes over that he was paralyzed for 3 hours and played 2 weeks later. Holy shit. You want to talk about player safety, scary things like that. I mean, he also mentioned, he said, I couldn't move. I was just stuck in the ground. It was like I melted. It was the weirdest feeling, man. The doctors wanted me to stay in the hospital, but the team doctors were like, you're good. We can go. We can go on the plane back to Denver. It was miserable. Every time I got touched, my arms would go numb. And I'm a defensive lineman, so my head's getting hit every single play. 3 months after returning to the field, Wolf had a seizure after a lack of fresh blood to his brain after a bruised spinal cord caused the bruise to the base of his brain stem. And that's when he said he realized that they really don't care about us.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. I feel they protect quarterbacks a lot more than they protect any other player. I mean, obviously, if a quarterback gets hit in the head, automatically taken out, concussion protocol, everything. But, I mean, you think about it, running backs get drilled in the head all the time, no penalties, not taken out of the game, not going into protocol. Yeah, that's scary. Very scary.
Yeah. I don't have much sympathy for Derek Wolf. He comes out and says, before games, I was taking microdoses. He was taking mushrooms and Adderall before to play. Dude, the effing focus is out of control. I would just, like before games, I get myself pissed off. So I could just go out, think about my childhood and all the shit that I went through as a kid, and it would get me freaking going into this rage mode. And it was just a controlled, crazy rage. So all the bullshit that he says, maybe he should stop taking mushrooms and peyote and whatever the shit he was taking before the game. I have zero sympathy at all for Derek Wolf. Zero. And he was an interior lineman and not a rush end.
Okay, I'm sorry. He played D tackle there. The memory fades over time, but I'm not going to say I've got zero sympathy for him. I think it's more of the point I'm trying to bring up. It's just
I'm going to bet
more of the same.
I'm going to bet the issues that he had after games and all this other stuff is because he's taking freaking mushrooms. He's taking micro doses to, amp himself up for game. That's what the issue is. Now,
you don't think it's from him getting knocked out on the field?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
He was paralyzed for 3 hours.
He had a spinal cord bruise.
He's full of shit.
Spinal cord bruise.
He's full of shit.
And he had hold on. Are you saying now his seizures and stuff like that was not? I thought Grumpy, you were going to be on our side on this one, or at least thinking the same way I am on this, because it's just more of the NFL not giving a shit about the player safety at all.
You've got seizures.
You've got doctors.
You know what causes seizures? Taking mushrooms causes seizures.
Okay. More the point is you've got doctors that are saying you need to stay in the hospital, but the team doc's saying, you're good to go. Let's come fly back to Denver. Let's get you back under team control. We're going to be looking better care of you than these guys here at the doctor. They're saying, no, we don't think you should leave. But hey, team doctor says, come out here. Join us. You don't need to worry about that. We'll take care of you. That type of always gives me the weird feeling, because when you're hearing mixed messages, the team's doctor has one job. And I can tell you this, their only job is to get you as healthy as possible to throw your ass back out there into the meat grinder. That's their job. And when you've got doctors who that's not their occupation, right? Their job is not to get your ass back out there, put a Band-Aid on it and get you playing. Their job is to look out for your health. And they're saying, you shouldn't be going back out there right now. I don't know. It's just more of the same.
Stop doing drugs. Stop doing drugs.
I'm not advocating that he's, I'm not saying, hey, do mushrooms or anything like that. I'm just saying, right, he shouldn't be doing that. But also, is it a shock that the NFL team doctors are rushing him back or rushing him back?
No, not at all.
Okay. Do you ever remember hearing a news report or anything from anywhere that he was paralyzed for 3 hours? Ever? He's full of shit. He's probably still tripping on the shrooms. That's probably what the issue is. The guy's freaking tripping out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I will say, he was concussed, and then if he actually did have a spinal bruise, that could cause him to be paralyzed, or the sensation of feeling paralyzed.
Yeah, I'm just calling bullshit on this guy. 3 months after returning to the field, Wolf had a seizure after the lack of fresh blood to his brain.
So I guess your stance is release the medical records. We want to see the medical records.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Then would you believe Grump?
I just don't believe him.
Okay.
Football player, kind of dumb.
Okay. Well, do you agree though that the NFL tries to get players out there or really doesn't care about player safety as long as they're out there bringing in?
I 100% believe in that.
That's it.
I just doppelganged Son X. I didn't even know that when I turned the little camera off for a second. We had two Son X's.
Son X is taking over the podcast.
There it is. I don't know. I believe what he said. Why would he have a reason to lie?
Because he's whacked out.
Maybe he wanted to become relevant again. I mean, when was the last time you heard of Derek Wolf's name in the headlines?
Probably the last time he bought mushrooms from who the hell knows where.
Well, we've heard Derek Wolf. We have not heard Derek Wolf.
Derek Wolf, I'm telling you, Derek Wolf over there. I do feel okay. It's just more of the same, just trying to just trying to say, hey, get out there as quick as you can. You see more and more of that. Like when I hear like Xavier Howard, like, I can't jump anymore. I'm like, I'm not sure I believe too much of that. Maybe he's exaggerating, but would it shock me at all? Right. He mentioned the same exact thing. hey, I can't play anymore. I can't jump anymore. They just loaded me up with painkillers, and now my body's completely shot. You see more and more of that continuing to come out. I wonder, maybe, right? If I hear more and more stories from different people, I'm leaning to believe that maybe there is an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. I don't think the NFL cares about the players. This guy's a jerk, though. Sorry, jerk.
Okay.
Grumpy does not like Derek Wolfe.
Okay. Well, there we go. Did you guys happen to see Justin Turner? What happened to Justin Turner?
No.
Thought he broke his thumb or something, no?
Yeah, if his thumb was his face.
Holy.
Look at this. He got hit in the face with a ball. And I mean, like, you talk about a warrior out there. I mean, he plans on being ready to
is like split in half.
The amount of swelling that's on. I assume he broke his orbital bone just by looking at it. I'm sure his jaw got messed up and jacked up. I mean, like, whew.
When did he get hit by the pitch?
I'll pull up the hit.
Because if you say he's going to be ready for opening day, I'm going to guarantee you he did not break an orbital bone. He didn't break any bones.
Here
He's got a broken bone in his face. He's not coming back and playing. He's not.
He was hit 3 weeks ago. He was hit 3 weeks ago, and this is what it looks like now. This happened at the beginning of March. Needed 16 stitches. So I'm not sure if this picture was like right after surgery or not. Days confused, bleeding. Oh gosh. We got to be careful because you know how YouTube does their things. They'll take down our videos in a heartbeat.
I was about to say you need to get this picture off. ASAP.
Let me pull up the video of it. So I'm not sure the severity of this. Okay, let's exit out of that. God, Christ almighty. Okay.
Oh my God. It's Turner, look out. Up and in on Justin Turner from Matt Manning as he gets medical attention. And
maybe if his hair wasn't flopping down in front of his eyes, he would have got hit in the face.
Ever as
Grumpy on a warpath today.
What did Grumpy say?
He said maybe if his hair didn't flop down in front of his face, he wouldn't have gotten hit with the pitch.
Oh, stop, Grump. Stop. Come on, Grumpy. Oh, shit, the sharing is miserable in that. Here's the thing. I mean, like, I did not know it was. I think that was the first picture that he went ahead and released thereafter. After that, I mean, that's gruesome. Oof. Look at this. I'll plop it up one more time on screen. Jesus Christ.
It looks like he split. It looks like that's where he got the stitches from. It looked like he split his lip in half. Kind of the corner there, his mouth.
How did they say the length of time between this picture and when he got hit in the face?
TJ thinks said 3 weeks.
He was hit 3 weeks ago. I'm not sure when this picture was just starting to surface, but I'm not, sometimes you get hit, you take a picture immediately thereafter, and now you're starting to show that. I cannot believe if that's him 3 weeks after.
He's not playing opening day. If that's him 3 weeks after, he's not playing opening day. I'm going to bet that was like maybe the next day after. They probably gave him a day off and told him to get back on the field.
I was going to say, I'm shocked his eye is not more swollen.
Looks like he got hit lower on the face. Yeah.
But still, I mean, I would have thought it would have rose a little bit.
He did not break any bones, but he did need 16 stitches to his cheek. He did not break any bones. I apologize. It looks, when you look at how swollen that shit is, I'm like, it looks like he broke something. But no, I mean, like, yeah, okay, didn't have to have his jaw wired or anything like that. Didn't have to break an orbital bone. Okay, gotcha. 16 stitches, but thankfully no fractures. Let me see. He was cleared. Hold on a second. He went 3 for 4. He's already back. He went 3 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs in Friday's spring game. So this must have been right afterwards. His first game back was on the 24th. Okay, so he's already back. So he expects to be ready by opening day. No setbacks, but man, oh man. Ooh.
Well, good. He's not too bad.
Okay, so he has sympathy there.
The team doctor said no broken bones, just a couple of stitches. I wonder what a regular doctor would say. Maybe he'd say, no, he's got a shattered face. Team doctor says he's fine. That's cool.
Now, Team Doctor said, get out there. Start swinging that baseball bat again there, Justin Turner. If you got hit in the face again, wouldn't do any damage to you. Get back out there. Now, I did post this up. Now, I was on the record thinking Gonzaga was going to go far this year. Made it to the Elite Eight before they were bounced. But we are going to talk about the Final Four that's up here. Now, I want to pull up this. This was in the UCLA game. That UCLA game went down to the wire. UCLA had a huge run as of late in the game, like a 10-1 unanswered run. Man, oh man, you look at plays like this. I don't know how the hell Drew Timme gets away with this. Maybe it's just because he is who he is, but I'd have to assume this should be called a travel.
He looked at the pivot foot 3 times.
1, 2. No, he lifted his pivot foot twice.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 4 or 5.
He's lifting that pivot foot. I mean, come on. No wonder they say he's got silky smooth moves under the basket. It's just like, I mean, come on.
He gets away with all. I mean, like that's a blatant travel. Jesus H.
The officiating has been so bad in the NCAA tournament. And you want to know why? Because they micro review every single play. That's the reason. The Creighton San Diego State game today. Creighton got freaking robbed. Creighton got robbed on that touch foul, remind me of the Super Bowl, with 1.2 seconds to go. You got to be kidding me. Guy put a hand on his back. He wasn't anywhere close to putting that in. The guy who they couldn't even see the play is the one who called it. I mean, come on. The way you call the game all game long with the hands, those teams are ultra aggressive defensively, and you're going to call a touch foul with 1.2 seconds to go? Stop.
I'll put this up here.
Yeah, I agree, though. The NCAA officiating has been awful this year. They were either calling everything a touch foul for the higher seeds, and then the lower seeds go in and get mugged or hacked at as they're going up for a shot, and they don't call anything.
No.
It was pretty rough to watch. I agree.
All I can find is the freeze. Oh my God. Yeah, they've got the video of it. I think it's because the cell at the end.
And they start making you know how you know when you hear the announcers start making excuses right from that's a freaking foul. You should have seen all the shit that was called before that. And here's the thing: there is no continuation in college basketball. I mean, to me, look, he had his hand on his hip. I guarantee you, if you go to the previous thing, when anybody had it, there's hands all over the guy's back, all over their
with
head.
A minute and with 1.2 seconds left, that's a foul call.
You put your whistle away. Unless he mugs him, you put your whistle away. Then Creighton throws the ball down the field. Creighton throws the ball down the court. It bounces off. It lands out of bounds with 0.2 or 0.3 seconds left. They review it for 10 minutes, and then they say, game over. What? I mean, you got to be kidding me. The officiating is so bad. And just let's make sure we add time back to the clock. Every time they go, we got to add time back to the clock. You know what? I'm going to tell you again. If you can't, in basketball, if you can't tell what a shot or whatever is in 10 seconds, it's over. Go stay with the call on the field, period.
Now, this is one they keep bringing up. Just an example of a play that was not called a foul. Oh, Jesus H. This is I don't know. Watching that in full motion, I don't know how the hell it's because of the fucking flop.
The guy behind him, the guy who was looking at it didn't call it. It's the guy behind him who called it.
It's because of the flop. It's because of this guy fucking flop special.
Watch the hand go up at the referee. The guy down closest to the bottom of the screen here. He's the guy who calls it.
Fucking guy over here. It's because of the flop. Jesus Christ.
He couldn't even have seen that. Creighton got robbed today. They got robbed today.
You're right. He could not see that as right, but he saw that. He was near it, and a guy collapsed. Oh.
Can't see it from where he's standing. You couldn't see that. He's full of shit. And you just hear them scrambling to cover their own asses for the officials. And
just looking at this angle here, his body would be blocking that hand by this fellow right here.
He couldn't see it. Couldn't see it. It's all shit. Here's the one thing I learned this weekend.
My legs collapse underneath me.
Gene Steratore Gene Steratore, right?
Yeah.
He does the NFL too, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the one who does the NFL.
Yes.
He was an NCAA
Yes, he
official.
is.
He has
Yep.
nothing to do with football. How come that piece of shit is doing NFL games? Why? Because he watches on television?
What do
Because
you mean? He's an official expert. He knows everything about all sports and officiating.
there it
He is
is.
the greatest official of all time.
He's a one. He's a jack of all trades, Grumpy.
Yeah. I remember when they had him in there to do the first review on a foul call or on adding time to the clock, and I was like, this is the same guy who does the NFL. I said, why the hell is he doing this? I didn't realize that he was an NCAA official. But then it makes it even worse that he's doing the stuff for the NFL.
Yeah.
Worse.
You know what he does? He's jacking off the NFL and the NCAA for a paycheck.
You know what I think? I think he has a script, and they just throw words up there, and they're like, "Yep, just read this."
Read the
That's
script. Now, Dan Lebitard says here, I hate what you two have done to sports television, talking about Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. Now, Stephen A. and Skip, I'd say they were kind of the first or the most popular of their type of TV commentators, known for unbelievably hot takes, many, I'm sure, takes that were crazy, ridiculous, wrong. But let me ask you this. Go ahead, Grump or X.
Go ahead.
Grump's going.
Oh, X, you got it.
Oh, I didn't say anything. I was waiting for you to finish your point.
I was just saying, do you agree that Stephen A. and Skip have done more bad for the sporting world or good? Was going to be my question.
I think they've done more good for the sporting world than bad.
I don't think it matters. And I think Dan Lebitard is just upset that his show isn't as good. That's what I think. He's pissed off that he doesn't have a TV show on ESPN anymore that anyone cares about. That's his issue.
I mean, they're both entertaining.
I hate what you two have done to sports television. They should have put it underneath because I'm irrelevant now. That's what he should have put down as a follow-up.
Yeah, I was saying I think they're both really entertaining to watch. I like watching their shows.
I don't watch their shows.
I watch. Okay, scratch it. I watch snippets of their shows.
Well, that's my point. That's what they are, and I think that's the problem that Dan has with them is that they're just trying to go for the viral 30-second clip where he's like, "I think that LeBron James is the worst basketball player we've ever seen. I've never seen a player lose that many clutch games." You know, they're just out there for ridiculously hot takes, and I wonder if that because it over sensationalizes the sport, if that it just kind of feeds into what it is today. Because you think about how ridiculous the sport gets, and it's like these people don't help, is what I think Dan was trying to mean.
Well, I mean, what their take is, I guess ESPN is a marketing standpoint, it's pretty good on what they're doing. They have them have these ridiculous takes, and then they throw it up on their Instagram, and then have people comment on it, and it just blows up. Or Twitter, they have people comment on it, it blows up. Like, oh, did you hear what Stephen A. Smith said? Like,
okay. It's a problem with society. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The way that all the youngsters, such as the two of you, view something now is on silly little snippets of things. You never invest enough time to learn something that's actually true or the whole detail. You're happy just watching the 2-minute clip or the 30-second clip. Or no one actually follows up and figures out what's really going on. Let's hear let's go to the next thing. And then, whoop, oh, what's the next little thing? Whoop, what's the next little thing? That's the way all you youngsters are. Well,
no, it's not youngsters. It's everyone. It's because everybody has data, an immense amount of data at their fingertips. Where they could say, "Oh gosh, what is that? Whoop! Okay. Oh man, look at this. Oh, watch this 30-second. Oh man, that's crazy. I can't believe you did that." And you just scroll right along because there's so much out there that people were never had the availability to have in the past that it just kind of has led to this.
So you think that 50 and 60-year-olds are scrolling through looking for these little 30-second clips, TikToks, Instagrams? You think that's what they're doing?
I don't
No. It's a societal issue, and it's all the shitheads that are your age.
Okay. Grumpy's on a mean streak, but Skip Bayless responded here. Let's listen.
Okay, my turn now. One championship in 26 years? Are you kidding me? This guy, Ash, is more like Aaron Bleepin Rodgers, a flat-out fraud. You know it and I know it. He'll never be that guy, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Heck, he won't even ever be Charizard. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Think about how ridiculous shit is and it kind of feeds off of this. People just make imitation videos of Skip Bayless because the shit is so ridiculous. Or people are like, oh, I could see Skip Bayless saying some ridiculous nonsense along those lines because that's what they're known for. These just ridiculous takes.
That was a ridiculous take, to be honest with you.
He actually sounded very close to him, though. I'll give him credit.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's just I don't know.
I didn't realize he was trying to be Skip Bayless.
He was impersonating him.
Yeah, it's an impersonation.
Well, yeah. I didn't realize it because it wasn't very good. Not until he said Thomas Edward, Patrick Edward Brady, whatever. Then I'm like, oh, that's Skip Bayless because I've heard him say that before.
His voice sounded, he was trying to get his voice to sound similar to it.
I thought it was actually Josh Rosen. I was looking, is that the guy who used to play quarterback?
Oh, good gracious. No, I'd tell you, Grumpy. Let's look at some comments here because we got a few things I've got prepped for us too. Ye right to Pops says, can you guys name one trade Luzarillo has won as an Islanders general manager? I can't.
I was thinking for a second. There was one that I thought that he didn't make that I thought he was going to win, and he wound up losing it. That's when he didn't trade away the first round pick in 2019. And instead he drafted Simon Holmstrom, which ultimately turned out to be another loss trade.
I can think of one trade that he's won. The Matt Martin trade. Bringing back Matt Martin, a guy who is scraps on another team. I'm not a fan. The contract, right, is blah, blah, but he's had a fantastic year this year. The Matt Martin trade, they gave up a freaking ECHL, AHL goalie to bring back an everyday NHLer. Because he was spare parts on another team. I think they won the Matt Martin trade. But it's like, you think about it. You've got to really think about the trade. Like, did he really win this one? He hasn't won a lot of trades, but Matt Martin is one I think he's won.
So the trade that, in your opinion, he won was the one where he traded for a fourth line left wing.
For nothing.
For an ECAHL goalie that perhaps could have developed into something, and they could have traded Semyon Varlamov and gotten a first-round pick, but instead they wanted Matt Martin, formerly the $6 million man, and because he's had, 50 games in 3 years where he's produced? I don't know about that. You're right. You are stretching saying that that's a win for a deal.
They traded away Eamon McAdam.
Yes.
Who is no longer in the NHL. He's never played in an NHL game. He played in the ECHL. He played in Denmark, and now he's in some other far-off away league.
I will say it sounds like a pretty good trade.
Yeah,
if he had our goalie coach, perhaps he'd be an NHL player by now.
I don't. You know what? I give the Matt Martin trade a win. That's it. Matt Martin trade's a win. We didn't give up anything, and the guy didn't amount to anything. I'll give it as a win. Joseph C says, TJ needs to stop giving times for the podcast because nobody buys it anymore. Okay. I'm trying.
Right.
I'm trying there. Trying, Joseph. Drew L said, I've got an Islanders meme for Wednesday, but I sent you one meme. Yeah, send us the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. Send us that one, Drew, because I want to see that on Wednesday's show. The Wicker Man says here, Tavares is hurt. I don't know how bad or for how long. Toronto is falling apart. I did not know that.
I believe that also. Toronto's done.
I'll let you read here this next comment as I'm trying to pull up that injury grump.
Excited to see Volpe, that's Anthony Volpe, make the roster, though, for the Yankees. It's been long overdue. He should have made it last year. He should not have made it last year. But it's good that he made it. And Falafa will play I guess he'll be the utility role, which is where he should be anyway. Let's see what happens when the regular season kicks off.
I don't know if they did. Was he the one that they did like a fake firing video for him when they actually called him up in the office?
Okay. Well, here it is. I've got. I'm sorry, I'm ruining a whole bunch of the stuff I prepared. But here's the video right here. We'll pop it up. It's a minute long.
Yep.
Sorry. All right. difficult conversation to have because you came in and played your ass off. Okay. And, we talked about at the start of this being a competition and you killed it. But at the end of the day, you got 20-something games at AAA. There's always room for development. But at the end, I think that development should happen in the big leagues. Welcome to New York. Congratulations, brother.
Wholesome videos.
Yep.
You earned it. You earned it.
You know what? Aaron Boone is a loser. Stop touching that kid in the chest, you payroll.
Way to go, man.
Way to go.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Your take from that is Aaron Boone's a loser.
That's Grump's take.
God almighty.
Hey, good for the kid. He absolutely has to be the starting shortstop, though. There's no way you should call him up to have him be a guy off the bench. He needs to start.
He is,
Period.
I believe, yep. He is the youngest Yankee to make the opening day roster since Derek Jeter, I believe, is what I read.
Okay.
So,
He's
great
good.
for him. I'd
He's
love
good.
to see the reaction for it. It's like you talk about the human element of sports. It's great to see. But hey, what will Volpe do? A young guy up there, you have to hope he starts, and starts off hot. That's for certain. But there are going to be some ups and downs. But Tavares just scored, so he must be back.
The Mets, sent a couple of their prospects down. Nieves
Alvarez
and Billy Batty.
Beatty. Yes, Batty. Beatty, a.k.a. his name is Beatty, but he goes by Batty. So you've also got him. Alvarez, I know, was sent down too. That was a while ago, but there are some young prospects to be excited about for Mets fans.
Yeah. If you're not going to play every day, you should go down.
Especially in your young 20s.
You're not going to develop sitting on the bench. It's not going to happen.
Right. Now, I'm also of the belief that if the kid they continue to tear it up in AAA and a guy scuffles a little bit, bang, he comes up and you just throw him in there and you play him there the rest of the year.
Yep, because guess what? It's a competition, ladies and gentlemen. If they've got somebody underneath you playing lights out MLB, playing lights out baseball, or playing lights out hockey, or playing lights out anything, you're not cemented in stone unless you're a fantastic ball player.
Now, here's my thing, Grump. What if you bring them up and they start playing like trash?
You got to give them a run of like 15 to 20 games. And if they're really struggling, then you send them back down because you don't want to destroy their confidence.
Right. But the whole thing is, and I said once again, he's got to continue tearing it up in the minors and somebody's got to scuffle.
Well, that's what I was saying. But like, what if somebody scuffles in the majors and then you bring the kid up into the bigs and then he starts tailing off? I mean, you want to kind of ruin his career before it's starting, though.
No, but you have to feel. I mean, they were really good in spring training. It's not like they played like dog shit in spring training. If they keep it up, it's like, hey, the time is now. I don't know what the Mets thinking is. Hey, maybe we're just going to play the veterans. But here's the thing: as much as I love Eduardo Escobar, he's limited. He's got a limited skill set. Where this kid, is more talented.
Escobar is on the Mets.
That's right.
That's what he's talking about.
I'm talking about Billy Beatty.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry. I thought we were still talking about Volpe. I'm like, hold on a second. Okay, gotcha.
He already made the team.
Yeah. Beatty, how many games? I'm interested how many games that Beatty has played in AAA.
I don't know.
I'm just pulling up because I remember Clinic. Give me 1 second here. He played a little bit towards the tail end of last year with the Mets. I do. Now I'm looking that up. I do remember that. He played pretty well there in AAA. He was playing.
It's Brett Beatty, by the way, not Billy Beatty. My bad.
Billy Beatty
sounds better. That sounds better.
It does.
Go to him. Hey, actually, I know your name's Brett Beatty, but I want you to sign this ball, Billy Beatty, please.
BB. Just call him BB.
He only played a handful of games there in AAA, but he played well in his limited time there. And he played, I am looking at, he played 11 games in the MLB towards the tail end of the season. So he probably needs to start off the year in AAA. But Drew L says here, I see that Derek Wolf took inspiration from Aaron Rodgers by taking those shrooms.
It's Wolf.
Well, there it is. There it is.
Wolf. Wolf.
Grumpy getting all upset.
Actually pronounced Wolfie.
If his name was spelled WOOF, then you could call him Derek Wolf. But it's not. It's Wolf. Wolf.
Wolf.
Wolf.
A wolf. There it is. Big game tonight for Penn State versus Michigan. 1-0. Penn State. The winner goes to the Frozen Four. There it is. Drew L said Grumpy seems to be living up to the name, or to his name, to Goth. I don't know what that means. Or his name tonight. There it is. Yes, he is. Shay said Beatty, he deserved to get the third baseman job. And Epler's reasoning is total bullshit.
Yeah, I did see that was late that I found out he was sent down, so I don't know what Epler said.
Okay, here we go. This is interesting. This is talking between Drew Dowdy about the Jonathan Quick trade. Well, this could be good. Let's pull this up here. Thank you, Shay, for sending it to us. Let's listen to this.
So tough, just like sad and disappointed, but at the same time, we realized, we weren't going to all play together forever. That's just the bottom line. That's hockey. That's the business. And never wanted to see Quickie go anywhere. But it was hard to play those next couple games. Walking into practice, not seeing him in the stall across the way from me that he sat in for 15 years. And that was super tough. That's the worst part about hockey is the business side of things and having to say bye to friends and teammates. That was
yeah, that's true.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see some Islander players saying stuff about Josh Bailey and Anders Lee and Brock Nelson, all the other pieces of shit that litter the roster that stop us from becoming a championship level team.
There's some mentioned staples on the Islanders, though. They ain't ever leaving.
There it is.
You
anchors to the foundation.
You can still see him in the cul-de-sac.
Oh, hey, ladies and gents, we are going to have a fantasy baseball league. We are. We're going to have one for TJ and the Grumpy Old Man / Islanders Never Say Die. So we're going to have a fantasy baseball league. I know opening days in, I think, 4 days, this day's almost over, so about 3 days. So we're going to have a fantasy baseball league. I think draft is going to be Tuesday. So be ready, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be making posts on it on our social media. So be ready, be aware. And James F says here, I guess the Islanders blew it last night to catch up to Tampa. If they won in overtime versus Montreal and Ottawa beat in Vancouver, we're not catching Tampa. There's no way in hell. They got 91 points this year.
We have 83.
Yeah, we're not catching Tampa. No way. You know who's also taking over this podcast? Me, Drew says. Wicker Man says, Grumpy, I agree with you about Wolf. However the hell he wants to have his name pronounced in the drugs. I don't know if he's lying. Football is a violent sport, and I think you're right about the NFL protects the quarterbacks but doesn't care about anybody else. Yep. Yeah, because the quarterbacks are the guys, you can put the pretty boy's face on everything. They make the money. They're the pretty boy. You can market and advertise them. You're not going to be putting Warren Sapp or Albert Hainsworth or name anyone there on. Even Aaron Donald, as much as he's as a defensive tackle, he's about the prettiest pretty boy you could put as a D tackle. He's got himself a 6-pack. He's not morbidly obese, and he doesn't even get marketed the way he probably should.
No one it has their shirt off as a marketing tool.
Okay, I'm saying, what? You see those pictures they do, like the GQ men, all that shit like that? The
NFL does not market guys with their shirts off.
Okay, I'm saying pretty boy face. Okay, you're not going to see guys.
Aaron Donald's not a pretty boy either.
He's not morbidly obese. All offensive and defensive linemen are huge people.
They don't put them on because no one cares about offensive or defensive linemen.
That's also true.
Yeah, they care more about the quarterbacks because who touches the ball every time on offense?
Who gets interviewed?
Play.
Who gets interviewed after every single game? Quarterbacks.
Quarterback.
Yeah,
Well,
quarterback
it's
and
'cause
who
they're
played
the captain of
extremely
the team. They are the face of the franchise as the quarterback.
They
It's
touched the
not
ball
the
every
defensive
play.
tackle. It's not the offensive lineman. It's the quarterback.
Actually, what you said earlier was correct, TJ. It's the fact that uh, the quarterbacks are the ones who are worth the money. They're the ones who put the fans in the seats.
Yep.
And as long as the machine keeps moving, they're going to protect those guys. Deep down, if they had a backup who was just as good, they could care less if the quarterback got killed either. They don't care about the players at all, ever. They don't care about the players.
Drew L said the NFL seems to do a good job at protecting Tua. Intended sarcasm.
I think he injures himself.
Shay Grumpy, I'll let you read that.
Yeah, before we touch on that from Shay real quick, you can leave it up. I heard that Tua got hurt this weekend brushing his teeth. So watch out for that. Shay says, you start looking back a little bit at players like Nolan Arenado. He was a high in the high school draft like Brett, Batty/Beatty. He played over 400 games at third base in the minors. Devers played 310, and Austin Riley played 430 games.
And that was an Epler quote. He said, but Jordan Walker has played 201 minor league games. Beatty, 237. So it's ridiculous, his comparison. I'm sorry. I don't mind him. I don't mind him starting off in the minor leagues in AAA. And Shay mentioned later on here too. He only played 6 games in AAA. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. You know, I don't mind him starting off the year in AAA. The Grumpy Drew L.
Well, I do want to touch on the X. Did you have anything to say about that?
No, I mean, as I said, I feel like you kind of want to have some guys develop in the minors before you bring them up right away. And it seems like he hasn't played many AAA games. So I'd like to see kind of what he does there. The only thing is you don't want to rush bringing up guys too quickly, because if they come up and they perform poorly, they lose that confidence and they might never get it back. Like, there have been a lot of players who have gone up way too quick into the league, into the bigs, and have lost confidence and were almost a shell of what they could have been.
I agree with you. For Epler's comments, though, every player is different. He might need more time. Maybe he doesn't need that much time. Every player is different. To just throw it out, the best third baseman in the game and say, well, this is the way it happened for them, that doesn't mean anything, Epler. It means absolutely nothing. Now, it could be that he's not ready. But just to say, well, the reason why we're sending him down is because he hasn't played as many games in the minors at third base as these guys, that's just asinine comment. I'll be honest with you, just dumb. Now, he might not be ready. And if he's not ready, that's fine. Just say he's not ready. But if he beat the other guy, if he beat the veteran out in training camp, he should have been up with the team. I'm going to bet they're probably playing it cheap and they don't want to pay his salary. That's what I'm thinking. Keep that service time down.
Could be.
It kind of reminds me of Jared Kalenic, a guy who played well in spring ball this year. And he really, you look at the jump he made from single A to AAA like that. And he played a few games in AAA, but they immediately threw him up there. He played 30 games in AAA, played 90-something in AA. Was that ego? And he quite obviously wasn't ready, but he may just be a 4A ball player. But, you want to take your time. No need to rush a guy like that. Joseph C. says Walker is a better prospect than Beatty, to be fair, and the Cardinals have outfield problems.
Yeah, and they don't play the same position. So, outfield in the majors is much easier to play than third base. You don't have to worry about defense as much.
Drew also said, I would say that Turner pick might be borderline not safe for work. I think is what he meant to say.
Yes.
That's going to make Reddit 50-50 soon. I'm not sure what a Reddit 50-50 is. Goon says, phew, I thought I dreamt that the Islanders got only one measly point out of 2 in 2 games versus shitty teams. It was a dream though, right?
No.
Goon, we got
Nightmare.
bad news.
That's a nightmare, not a dream. But unfortunately, it was reality.
Now it's tied 1-1 Penn State and Michigan. We've got here Joseph C. Grumpy.
Beatty and Ventos will be up soon. Ruff is probably a DFA. Why is he up? What a bad trade. Remember I ripped that trade when they picked up Damian Ruff?
Trade at the deadline.
They needed a big bat and they went cheap. The Mets do that. Historically, the Mets play it cheap. He's probably going to be a DFA by May if he sucks, which he does. And they're going to need Beatty for his offense at some point. See, the fact that Ruff made the team over them is distressing to me.
And Shea said, with these comments, Beatty never got a legitimate shot to make the roster, and it's certainly not a good sign from the organization, showing that you have, an amazing spring and you miss out on the team. Ruff shouldn't even get a spot. He's had an awful spring. I'm sorry. You can't reward bad performance.
And as I've said numerous times on this show, Billy Martin always gave a guy who no one thought would have a chance of making the team. Here's the thing. If Billy Martin was manager of the New York Mets this year, Beatty would be up, Ruff would be gone. I mean, he did that. Steve Saxey sat. Who else? Kemp, when he was here. He played Mattingly over Kemp, and it drove Steinbrenner crazy because Steinbrenner gave him a big deal. He's like, well, this kid's better. I mean, best players should play.
Got here also Joseph C. saying the only way that Beatty would have made the team is if Escobar was on long-term injury. Gungun says, Sorokin to the rescue this week. Well, the Islanders certainly need him. Need him to have fantastic, fantastic play if they want to go ahead and, win against some of these tough teams. Joseph C. says, I don't want Ruff on the team either. But he's going to get until May to prove that, he can hit left-handed pitchers, which is why they traded for him. I was about to say March, April, May. I mean, like you're starting opening day pretty much starts in April. You've got really a month and a half, 2 months to prove that you can do it. And the one benefit of the MLB season being so unbelievably long is you can have a guy up there for 2 months. He's going to get himself, 30 plus games to prove he can or can't do it. And then you could say, nope. Hey, Beatty's look good. We're going to go ahead and throw him up there in the majors.
Yeah, you definitely have time to assess whether or not. I feel like it's a lot different than a sport like football. You have time to assess whether or not a prospect will pan out and your whole season isn't gone by the time it's done.
And even hockey, where it's like, oh, we've got to give him 20 games. Well, that's a quarter of the season. Where, you're talking about 30 games in the MLB or an entire month, and a month is a good time frame to look at and to say, hey, is this guy, is he going to be able to do what we're supposed to do? Or no. I mean, like you still got it's only a sixth of the season compared to a fourth in the NHL. Shea says, I've seen it because of the service time, but they ruined it with Alonso. I really wonder if it's more Buck liking to manage a veteran group.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I could see why the Mets are in it to win it, right? Maybe they think, well, we don't want to go through the growing pains with this kid. Maybe that's what the thing is. I don't get the Ruff thing at all, though. I don't.
The Wicker Man said, if it's a foul, though, Grumpy, it's a foul. And I don't care if he saw it. If it's a foul, though, he pushed him. Yeah, I thought, you're right, it's a foul. It's not usually one they call in the last 10 seconds of a game.
The whole thing is they were not calling touch fouls the whole game long. If you're going to change the way you're going to referee the game in the last 2 seconds, that's a fail on you as a referee. They were letting stuff go all game. San Diego State is a super physical team, really physical. They were bodying guys all day long, hands all over them, hand checking all day, not getting called. And to call a touch foul? A touch foul with 2 seconds to go on a shot he was never going to make? I'm like, come on, can't do that.
Just he said, Escobar was their best hitter down the stretch last year. Shea was mentioning he had a poor spring, but he was their best hitter down the stretch last year. They're going to give him an opportunity to hold down the position, and if he doesn't, then Beatty will be back. Shea said, it's like the Islanders rewarding bad play with Simon Holmstrom and Josh Bailey by promoting them to the first line and demoting good play. Well, now you're speaking my language, Shea. Now I understand. We start throwing Simon Holmstrom and Josh Bailey in the mix. Everybody who's not a baseball fan now understands. No, I'm just kidding. Joseph C. says here, I never liked the idea of letting top prospects sit on the bench when they can get everyday reps in the minors.
Yep. 100% agree with that.
You're never going to get any. I was just going to say, you're never going to get any better experience than actual live ABs and live reps in the field. I mean, you can hit in the cage or hit BP all the time, all that you want, and take reps in practice, but it's not the same as a game situation. It just isn't.
Yeah, absolutely there, X. Andrew L said NCAA basketball games are officiated so poorly year round. Might have been, or it might be the worst refs in all sports.
I agree.
Well,
They're pretty bad.
What's the reason though? Because you have
there's so many of them.
That's right. There's so many college basketball games, every single level, and they do it, 2, 3, 4 times a week. You'd think they'd get better, but they don't.
Well,
Hey, maybe they just need those live ABs, those live reps to improve.
the Wicker Man said, yeah, he flopped and the ref bought it. Yeah, absolutely. Goon Goon said, Son X, who would you say are TJ and Grumpy's top comedian influences?
Grump, I'd say Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah,
And
Grumpy does like him.
TJ, I feel like, I don't know if Jack Black is really like a comedian, but I feel like you like Jack Black somewhat.
I like Jack Black, Patrice O'Neal, but I wouldn't call. Jack Black's just I like Jack Black as an artist, but I like Patrice O'Neal.
Yep.
What
about you, Grump? Was I right or wrong?
Yeah, Andrew Dice Clay was good. Rodney Dangerfield was good.
Sam Kennethan, or whatever the hell his name is. Kennison.
Yeah, you got to understand. When I grew up, comedians
George Carlin.
Comedians were big.
Yeah.
Stand-up comics were big back in the 1970s and 80s. Huge. Now there are none out there because everyone gets offended if you make a joke. And, oh, I'm offended by that. Oh, you can't tell me my truth. I'm offended by that. Comedy pokes fun at social norms. That's what comedians do. That's what really good comedians do. They poke holes and make light of social norms that are ridiculous.
And they present revelations and things that you have not seen that are like, ooh, yeah, you're right.
It makes you think about things in a different way, using humor. Now, you do something like that, they cancel you. Canceled. Sorry.
Drew L said, TJ, go back to Dan Lebatard tweet and find the account Josh Rosen. He calls him Dan Lebatard. Oh, God. Joseph C. Grumpy.
I hear you, Shay. I want Beatty too, but I understand the reasoning for optioning him and Vientos early.
Continue reading, please, Grumpy. I'm trying to pull this up.
Gungun says, if there's any chance that after all this mumbo jumbo, Aaron Rodgers doesn't wind up with the Jets and the Jets wind up holding their schmenzes in their hands. Is there any chance of that? What do you think, X?
No, I definitely think Rodgers is going to be gone. I think Jordan Love is their guy. I think it's just more so a matter of when. It's going to happen. I think the Jets are holding out. I think they obviously don't want to give up a first round pick for him. So I think they're kind of just holding out, and then they're going to kind of just, I don't know, holding out.
I think it's absolutely imperative that Green Bay trade him. I don't know when. I know they can hold on to him till opening day so they don't have to pay him roster bonuses. But are you really going to go that far? Because if he's on the team when the season starts, Green Bay's a dumpster fire.
Yep.
Green Bay's a dumpster fire.
I'll say this here. My God, it's like a game of chicken. It's like a game of like you're driving two cars down the road, like who's going to pull off first. It's a game of chicken. And who's going to bend the knee first? I think that Green Bay is going to have to. You're going to have to somewhat bend a little bit towards the Jets' way. It's just that simple.
Schefter said over the weekend it was the first round pick plus for Rodgers. They're never going to get that for a 39-year-old quarterback who makes $60 million a year. It's just not going to happen. They're delusional. They're absolutely delusional. I could see a second round pick and an option and some type of, optional pick for 2024, depending on how the Jets do.
Here's a scenario for you, Grump. What happens if Green Bay, I know this is just a what if, but what happens if Green Bay is not willing to break off that first round pick and then some, and then the $60 million? What would be the Jets' next move?
Lamar Jackson. They are
okay.
right now,
Let's move along. Let's keep moving along. X. I don't know why you have to do that.
You don't put the roster together that they put together, which is we're in it to win it now, and say, okay, we're going to take Mike the Greek Melaniadis and throw him behind the center.
Zach Wilson, baby.
No, it's not going to
I
be.
don't think. Yeah, I don't think they're going to go with Zach Wilson.
Zach
The
Wilson.
only guy left on the market. The only guy left on the market is Lamar Jackson. The only one, and that's the guy. They have to go after him with what they've done this offseason.
You wouldn't think that they would trade up and try and get a quarterback?
Not who's going to be ready. You're talking about someone who's got ready to play. They're built to win now.
They're kicking a can at another rookie quarterback like 2 years,
That's true.
3 years apart.
Well, I
Sam
thought I
Darnold,
didn't think
Zach Wilson and rookie X.
I want to now. This isn't a high school or softball game, and X. I want to ask you. This is a more you question, and I guess a Grump question because Grump used to coach a lot too. I want to ask if you've ever seen anything like this that took place. Okay.
My God,
Oh my
what?
God. Oh,
How did she fall for that? How did she fall for that?
banana in the tailpipe.
I've never seen. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen anything like that in the game?
Okay,
You're talking.
she's first of all, she's out. When you run that far out, you're out. You can't run around back there. What the hell is the umpire doing? She backs up. She can't back up to the backstop.
What he's doing, he's collecting a paycheck.
That's
We
what
talk
he is.
about
And no matter
Florida
what-
Once it's stalled, I'm pretty sure once it's stalled for like a couple of seconds like that, it's
They're automatically out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought too. But I wasn't. I mean, we're talking high school baseball / softball. The officials, I assume, if they struggle in college athletics, sometimes they're going to struggle also in high school.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, this guy 100% is just he does this
Cashing
as a
a check.
side gig just to get some extra money.
Oh my! Hey, look at first base.
That was, hey, you know what? I'll give her credit though. That was smart thinking. I wouldn't have thought to do something like that. That's smart thinking, and she got her.
You want to know what the referee? You want to know what the umpire was doing? He's saying to himself, "I got to get to referee my NCAA college basketball game later tonight."
I've got to go ahead and get out there for Gonzaga against UCLA, and this game may be running over. Oh, good gracious. I figured you both would get a kick out of that. Now, Will Levis, there's a lot on these quarterbacks they're all going viral on social media with them throwing the deep ball. Oh, yeah, look at, and everybody's buying in. Oh, look at Will Levis. Look at this throw. Look at his arm. He does have an extremely powerful arm.
Mayonnaise power right there. Mayonnaise.
I'll tell you this. He doesn't really step too much into it. He's a guy who, I mean, even when he throws the ball, he doesn't use all arm, but I'm like his legs, he doesn't really push too much off with his legs because when he throws on that front foot, his body lean is still backwards. It's not like he's all the way through that.
That's all shoulder.
It tells you the arm talent.
No, he doesn't even, it's not even really shouldered. That's just a smooth delivery. It's not like he's having a herky jerk the shoulder and the obliques and everything like that in there. He's just whoop.
The kid's got amazing arm talent.
Yes, he does.
That's what he has.
If he threw and really put it behind there with proper technique, that guy could throw the ball 100 yards, no doubt.
Well, no, he's not going to throw 100 yards.
Look at his throw. Look at his throw. He's
throwing 70 plus yards, I think.
70 plus yards, and he's not even really stepping into it.
I mean, he dropped it in the bucket there, too. They said, I was reading something from, who's the guy who does, not Mel Kiper for ESPN, who's the other guy? What the hell?
Chad Ochocinco.
No, Chad O'Shea. What the hell's his name? I forget the guy. It's not Chad O'Shea.
He does a trade. You talking about draft? He does specifically draft?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember his name. I know you're
Todd
talking
McShay.
That's it. Todd McShay. He said that, he was trying to be very conscious of trying to drop balls in as opposed to throwing line drives. He said, because, they scouts want to see him dropping in balls as opposed to everything a bullet.
That's true.
Everything he throws like 25, 30 yards downfield never gets higher than the receiver's head. That's the type of arm talent he has. Is he ready to start in the NFL this year? I don't think so. But you know what? What's a good situation for him to go to?
Bring him in. I got to pull up the NFL draft board because there's a lot of teams I think that, the Panthers. Right?
No, he's not going to
the Panthers are drafting one. The Panthers have I'm just saying, teams that have the ability to let a guy sit on the bench. They're not going to draft Will Levis. I don't know why the hell they traded up, because they could have drafted him at like 6 or 7, wherever the hell they were beforehand. I don't know
9.
why they
were
could have
9.
maybe they could have traded up to 6 and he would have still been available. And that's a guy who you could have let sit with what they've done.
Okay.
Where
Pull
were
up-
you thinking, Grump?
Well, just pull up, and I'll tell you.
I was gonna say
we'll go
Oakland.
through both scenarios.
Give me a second here. I'll pull it
Yeah,
up.
That's fine. But I was thinking a team like the Raiders.
That's okay. Sorry, Las Vegas. I was saying Oakland Raiders. Yeah, that's who I was thinking as well.
They have Jimmy Crapolo, who's 32 years old. They can let this guy sit on the bench for a year and then roll him out the next year. Okay, Carolina definitely needs a quarterback. Houston, absolutely. Arizona, no.
Indianapolis needs a quarterback.
Yes. Seattle could use a young quarter to develop.
Yes, Seattle, right? I think all 4 of the big QBs should be going within a top 3. I mean, like the 3 big quarterbacks should be off the board. And Richardson, I think, is more of the developmental piece. But you could have 4 of those quarterbacks going by 5 picks.
Do you feel like Richardson is now dropped down to 4th?
Yes, I believe
so.
I know he interviewed well, but I think Levis, I think he's a guy who is, I think, ready to. Richardson's a big project. He's a huge payoff, but a big project.
His pro day is this Thursday coming up. But then you look at, Seattle, yes, right, developmental guy. How about Detroit?
Yep.
Sure. I mean, Jared Goff's not getting any younger. And you think about they've had weapons, they've added pieces. The Raiders are in an odd situation at 7 to where I'm not sure any of those quarterbacks slip to them. There's a lot of quarterback hungry teams on the board here.
Do you think they move up to get Arizona's pick?
Oh,
I do not. I don't think you see the Raiders do that. If somebody falls to the Raiders, I think they'll pick them.
If I'm Arizona, I would do that in a heartbeat. If I could trade down to number 7 on a quarterback hungry team, maybe like the Raiders. Atlanta is still in no man's land with quarterback because Desmond Ridder's not the answer. They don't have a quarterback answer, in my opinion, too. At 8.
Okay.
I think it's Ritter. Is it Ritter?
Yeah, Desmond Ridder. I'm sorry.
The whole thing is the Raiders are not in desperate need of a quarterback right now. They have Garoppolo, who knows McDaniel's system. They will win games in the regular season for certain. They could make the playoffs if their defense is better. I don't think the Raiders have the wherewithal, first of all, with draft picks or whatever, to move up to a spot like that, and don't have the need for right now. I think if somebody slips to them, if a Levis slips to them, or maybe even a Richardson slips to them, maybe they pull the trigger there, but I cannot see them trading up.
I think Richardson is a great solution in Seattle because you've got 2 years left with Geno Smith, right? It was a 2-year contract or 4. That 2-year contract, 2 years for Anthony Richardson to get ready. I know he'll want to be ready in 1 season, but that's a guy that may take 2 full years to be ready to go. I know it's a really high pick to select someone that's going to take 2 full seasons maybe to be ready to go, but that's a guy I feel like he's going to need at least a full season in order to be ready to go, Anthony Richardson.
And the same thing with Levis.
I think Levis could be a guy where 1 year.
I think Levis is going to take less time than the Richardson. The Richardson, he can't even throw a short ball accurate.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's somebody you're going to have that's going to need a lot of work.
Yeah.
For me, already had a great combine because he did all the athletic things. Is quarterback a position where you need to have a guy who's an off-the-chain athletic player?
It helps, but no.
But Will Levis is plenty athletic enough. The least athletic of the top 4 is C.J. Stroud, but he's the quintessential pocket passer.
Yep.
I mean, but a guy, all you need to be able to do. Hey, Brady wasn't, and Manning, those guys weren't elusive in the pocket, but you know what? They knew how to slide up, how to move to the left, how to move to the right, buy themselves more time.
They could also read the field incredibly well.
That's right. That's the thing. And that's why, to me, Bryce Young is number 1.
Joseph C says here, Skip Bayless is a super troll, and all him and Shannon Sharp talk about is LeBron James, the Lakers, the Cowboys, and before he retired, Tom Brady. It never stops.
That's very true. They do.
Those are
the guys who sell.
Yeah,
they're a national brand. LeBron, everyone knows LeBron.
Yep.
Everyone knows the Lakers in the NBA, the Cowboys in the NFL,
team.
And Brady. Everyone, it's like those are the guys you talk about.
How much hockey do they talk about on that show?
None.
They don't talk about any soccer. If it was soccer, they'd be talking about Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo.
But it's in the United States, so it doesn't
Exactly.
have to pull here.
So it doesn't sell.
Quiet.
Exactly.
Could
Come
you
World Cup time, they'll bring them up, though. I guarantee you that.
Could you imagine Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp talking Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi? Could you just imagine that for a second?
It would be like LeBron James talking about Liverpool. Oh yeah, I love those guys. They were great. All the guys on Liverpool, they're just fantastic. Can't even name a single one.
He's like a minority owner, I think, a really small owner. Yeah,
he's partial owner.
Yeah. Brett W says, "How about them Canes?" That's right, University of Miami.
Now I don't know. Okay,
let's talk about that. The Final Four pitcher, Grumpy.
Okay, I didn't know if he was talking about the Hurricanes. They played Boston today.
I was just assuming by the profile picture he was talking about Miami, but could be wrong.
I know, but before I forget, I just wanted to mention the Hurricanes played the Boston Bruins today, and the game wound up going 4-3 in shootout. Hurricanes came back from 3-1 down in the third, and the only thing I thought watching that whole game was the Islanders are going to get obliterated in the first round, no matter who they play.
Yes,
so those two teams are the two best teams in the conference, and the Islanders are not beating either one of those two teams.
Yeah, but let's talk some Final Four action here. We talked
about this, saying that it wouldn't. Now, I don't think we said it was going to be, a 4 was the highest rated seed going to be left, but we said that it was going to be a crapshoot this year because there were no really great teams.
Anybody's tournament to win.
Yep. And
yes. So UConn, right? UConn is your highest seed remaining, and they had made quick and easy work of Gonzaga. They pummeled them. Yep. And remember, we mentioned, they said, man, the last two times UConn made the Sweet 16, they won the national championship. And here they are in the Final Four, going to be battling against Miami. Now, we'll talk a little bit of Miami's late game heroics today. And you've got FAU and San Diego State. I can't help but root for FAU because this is the first time their program's ever done anything like this. They're a mid-major team. I think kind of the underdog. I got to root for FAU, right?
I think the biggest thing at least for me, the biggest thing their school was known for was getting Lane Kiffin as a head coach. That's all. And then I think they had who's that kid on Last Chance U, the quarterback? I can't remember his name, but they had some kid from Last Chance U as their quarterback for their team. That's the only way that I even knew about FAU. But congratulations to them. I hope they win it all.
Lane Kiffin brought the kid in from Last Chance U. Oh man, DeAndre Johnson.
Maybe that was his name. I can't 100% remember.
Yeah. Anyway,
UConn has beaten every team by at least 15 points.
Yes.
They're probably the favorite.
UConn's the favorite. The only team that can beat them is Miami. I really wish they were on different sides of the bracket because I think that'd be a tremendous championship game. Miami is really, really good. Really good. Came back from 13 down against Texas today.
Texas is a good team too.
Texas is a really good team. Yep. Miami just dusted them in the second half. When they were down by 18 in the second half, and 13, and they just dusted them, wound up winning, going away by 8.
Does that say more about Texas or more about Miami?
Miami.
So
Miami is a team of men. That's what Miami. They are a team of men out there.
Remember, Miami's always been a physical team as well.
Yep.
Very athletic.
Physical ball.
Athletic and very physical. A team that has an immense amount of speed always on the court as well. And a team that could really catch you and the fast breaks going the other way. Now, at this point, Miami's down 13 points with
12 and a half minutes
left to go. You want to talk about a team that does not quit? Veteran leadership. Watch this play by Miami, Grumpy.
They inbounded. They got him on a dunk. Now he's just right off the back of Allen. Wow, that's something Allen might have done.
And they're a team that's not a bunch of 5-star recruits, right? They're not a school that gets, everybody, everyone's a top 5 player. They're not. They run their program a certain way. They draft certain type of athletes. They want guys who are going to be there for 4 years. They always draft guys who are tough, mentally, particularly, and physically if they can, but certainly mentally tough. they always give Duke the toughest time in the ACC
every year.
every single year.
Look at that play, though, too. You want to talk about heads-up basketball.
I'm going to say one thing, too. Coming back down 13 to end up winning to get on to the Final Four, that's big momentum for your team coming up.
They were down 17 at half, right, Grumpy?
I don't remember what they were down at half. I thought 13 was the biggest they were down. I didn't think it was 17 at half.
I'll pull it up here in a second.
Long story short, heads-up play. That's like I said, they smart players. And what's his name? Jim Laurinaitis. What's his name? I forget the head coach's name. Really good coach for that particular program. Really good.
Yeah. Is it Jim? Jim Laurinaitis.
There you go.
Or Jim Morenda. I'm mispronouncing that name, but he's got a little tilde on the end. But yeah, they were down. Miami was down at halftime by 9. And okay, so maybe it was at 13 points, down 13 points.
Honestly, I turned the game off. It was 12. I'm like, okay, this game's over. And last thing, I flipped it on late, and I'm looking at the celebration. I said, let me flip it back on. Jim Larrañaga. Okay, that's it.
Sounds like Larrañaga.
No, it is Larrañaga. Okay, Jim Larrañaga. That's it. And I flipped it back on, and I see the interview. I'm like, oh. And I just
what the hell are they doing interviewing the Miami head coach? Why is he getting interviewed?
No, I just flipped it because the warden, we were watching something. The warden wanted to watch something, so we watched something. I didn't get to watch the game after a certain spot. And then I just happened to turn it on, and I'm like, oh, the game's over. Let me see who won. And I flipped back, and it's like, wow, Miami came back and won. I can't believe it.
There it is. I tell you.
At least it wasn't super close. Because it was really close, I really would have been kicking myself. They won going away.
You did the same shit to the Gonzaga game. You watched the Gonzaga game the entire podcast last week, or this.
First of all, I did not watch the Gonzaga game. I had it on, but I did not watch it.
You had the Gonzaga game on the entire podcast on Thursday. You turned it off when they came back, and then UCLA scored 10 points to Gonzaga's 1 to make it a freaking 1-bucket game. UCLA took the lead, a 1-point lead against Gonzaga late, and Gonzaga found a way, and then they missed. It was a crazy ending to that game.
I never turned it off. I just put on something I DVR'd instead, so I got to watch the whole thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha. When I called you up, I was like, "Did you just see how that game ended?" You're like, "No, I'm not watching it. I turned it off."
Yeah, I was right. I was watching something that I DVR'd.
I thought you had turned it off is what you meant, but no worries. Okay. Drew L said, and there we go. TJ played the wrong shit. That was for the Ash Ketchum tweet. Drew, it was hard for me. I'm telling you, it was tough for me to figure out what was going on. Shay says, yeah, I understand. I've heard many sides of people's thinking about Brett Beatty. He should be rewarded. I think Vientos and Alex Ramirez are going to end up as trade bait, says Joseph C. Goon, Grumpy.
It's true what you said, Grumpy, about many people merely accepting short clips and sound bites as facts. Just because you read something on the internet does not mean that it's the real deal, right? Wrong, strong, absolutely. Yeah. People think just because it's on the internet, oh, that must be true. No, absolutely not. Do a little homework. Do a little homework, Grumpy says. New season of Succession tonight. And Penn State and Michigan going overtime, says James F. I'm not going to watch Succession. It's the last year. We're going to wait till all of them are out so we can binge them.
There it is. I understand that. Shay said, I'd rather trade Mauricio, Ramirez.
It's a long way to the deadline. That's all I'm going to say.
Drew L said that bald-headed goon Brian Cashman. Screw that guy. Or that bald-headed goon. I'm sorry, goon. That bald-headed goon, Brian Cashman. Screw that guy. Joseph C says here, I hate Mauricio's pitch recognition skills, but the power potential is elite. With a lot of those young guys, I know Shay does a lot to follow them. I used to be a lot more into the young baseball prospects, and I don't know, kind of fell by.
But how do you improve pitch recognition?
More at bats,
more live ABs.
Yep. Drew L said Aaron Boone sounds like a cornball. Just tell him that you made the team and focus on his development going forward.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think there was another team that did something similar to that. And I think they tried to hop on the trend. The Yankees. I don't remember
They
who it
did.
was.
Yep.
And I think that's what it was. So now you might see more and more teams come out. Oh, this went viral. This got multiple views. Let's hop on the trend. Become relevant.
I'll try to pull up who it was. I cannot remember who else because I see the one with the Yanks. That's obviously the most popular one.
Aaron Boone is a dope and a crappy manager. He's weak. He's soft. He's gutless. I cannot believe he's still there. The Yankees will never win a World Series with Aaron Boone as manager. Sorry.
You heard it here first from Grump. No World Series in the Yankees' future.
I've been saying that for years.
He's gone.
Should have been fired years ago.
Oh, let me put the volume on.
Oh, there's multiple of them. I think the Athletics did one as well.
You face adversity, you weren't bothered by it. And that's the separator in the big leagues, is the ability that when there's a little bit of pressure on you and everyone's getting on you for not doing your job, your ability to just cancel out the noise and just keep going at it. And that was the best skill that you demonstrated for everybody. Every staff member has said it. So you did that extremely well. And you deserve every bit of being with us opening day for 20.
Well, he didn't do anything.
Oh my God. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Holy shit.
He's a big kid, is he?
My God.
That's got to be the Walker kid, right?
Yes, it is. Holy shit. How tall is this guy? Mother.
He's not just tall, he's big.
He's playing the
Look
wrong
at his
sport.
legs. Jesus Christ.
Look at
His
his
entire
arms,
body.
Look at his arms, look at his butt. But that's the way Major League Baseball players are now. They're built like linebackers, all of them.
My God. He's
They're
built
all
like
on
an
something.
outside linebacker.
They're all on
Holy
something.
shit.
But okay,
My
I'm going to tell you where this backfires, all this silly little shenanigans that they're pulling. Let's
Jordan
say next year somebody comes in and you have a young prospect and you start talking like that to him and they say, oh, we are sending you down. He's like, you're kidding, right? Where's the
Camera.
Where's the goof? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Just play
God.
it straight. Just play it straight. You didn't make the team. You made the team. Hey, congratulations. You're on the team. Hey, we're sending you down. We believe in you, but we're sending you down. That's as much as the conversation as you need.
He's from Decatur, Georgia. Decatur. I used to play with a few fellas from Decatur High School. Yep, same one. Jordan Walker. He is built. He's listed at 6'5", 220. He's looking heavier than 220. I'll tell you that. Look at his legs.
Absolutely.
Look at the calves. He
looks like he's about 245, 250.
Look at his butt, man. He's got a big butt.
He's built.
He's
and
thick.
I'll tell you one thing. He's everything a 6'5".
Yep. He's
Yeah,
thick,
he's
too.
definitely more than 220 pounds. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Maybe he's 220 pounds in high school.
Unless,
now.
unless he's not really 6'5", and these guys are like 5'7".
Look at him
Hey.
hugging the coach too. He's built like a man. That's true. 6 games in AAA. Thank you, Shay, for Beatty. Gungun says, Grumpy, who was the ultimate money pro sportsman? Tom Brady or Billy Smith?
Billy Smith took his 4 Stanley Cups and turned it into a Hall of Fame career. I never thought Billy Smith was the greatest goaltender. But he was big in big moments, but it's got to be Brady, right? Brady, every single Super Bowl he was in, he put his team in a chance to win in the fourth quarter. Every single game. He had to come from behind, put them up, finish it off in the fourth quarter. Some of the games, they wound up losing at the end because the defense couldn't hold them, but Brady always did his job. It's Brady.
Yeah,
Brady.
or he came back and won the game in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Of final drive.
How many in overtime? Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, or overtime. Yep. Atlanta.
Now you sent me this, Grumpy, this ad you wanted me to run here for us. And now I'm gonna let you talk about it. Like I'll let you preface it. This ad that you wanted to run.
I actually sent this to you as
Oh,
well.
I'm
Jen.
sorry. X maybe sent this to me.
Yeah, X sent it.
Tell us a little about the clip, X.
Yeah, so if I'm remembering correctly, I think it was the what exactly was it? The pitch clock, I think is what he's talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay, it was so long ago when I sent you this. I sent you this like almost a week ago. It was the pitch clock.
It's on the 24th, so 2 days.
Okay, 2 days ago. Too difficult for me to remember.
Okay, no worries. I'll just play the clip.
And I believe
Pitch
This
the
guy is
ball
a
already.
comedian,
I can
stand-up
get my
comedian.
passport renewed faster than this. Oh, what are you doing with the bubbles? Why is he blowing so many bubbles? I'm going dancing tonight. Pick it up. This is why I'm excited about Major League Baseball. Getting rid of all this downtime with a pitch timer. You excited about that? Just pitchers doing what they're supposed to be doing.
It
Just
says
pitchers.
3 new rules, more great action. on
See, I
there.
like how it makes fun of itself too. Like they're making fun of old baseball in the
Absolutely.
way, which I think is great.
Yep.
I forget his first name, but his last name is Maniscalco. He was in Green Book.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah.
Sebastian Maniscalco. That's him. Yeah.
He does a lot of those little, like he does. Yeah, he throws his body around a lot when he's a comedian. Yeah, so,
Mannerisms.
yeah, a lot. He's got a lot of those mannerisms. I'm like, yeah, okay.
He's a New York comic. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Joseph C said the grumpy old man is thinking of Billy Bats from Goodfellas. There it is. Goon Goon Grumpy.
Who was the ultimate money pro sportsman? Brady,
Yeah,
Jackson,
Rich.
or Smith? It's Brady. It's still Brady.
Okay.
There's no one I take over Brady because it's harder to do it in football. Jordan was, really good in the NBA, but how often did they really fall behind? The Bulls were really good. They were always up. It's always been Brady. Always.
I'll let you read this, Grumpy.
Grumpy, did the warden sleep on the wrong side of the bed last night? You seem extra grumpy today.
Grumpy was grumpy.
Here's the thing. When you're dealing with morons, sometimes you get worked up. That's what
Oh, Grumpy got a little worked up.
leave it at that.
A little fired up. Now we did see the Vogelback. We made a huge goof on it last podcast. Unfortunately, I'm editing it. Thank you, Goon Goon, for mentioning it. I'm editing out. We ran about a minute, and our 2.5 hour long episode, we ran about a minute worth of Jack Grealish getting punched in the face because the guy had passed who ran on the field and punched him in the face. And we ran 9 seconds of a little tiny clip of Champions League soccer. And I don't even remember what the hell it was, but about 9 seconds. So our stream, I tell you one thing, the EPL, Champions League, the soccer powers that be, they don't screw around with that. You play 9 seconds and our stream was just blocked in all countries. So I'm removing those and it's still in the process of processing. So we did talk about that last podcast though, Shay. It's going to be posted and process completed by tonight. We've got here Goon Goon saying, Grumpy, do you remember what you were doing when you found out that Lincoln was shot?
Yeah, I had just gotten out of the outhouse and it was like, holy shit, the president's been shot. I'm like, oh, really? Jeez.
We just heard it by word of mouth, right?
Word of mouth, literally.
Shay
Paul
Grumpy.
Revere came down the road.
There it is. Shay Grumpy.
The Redcoats are coming.
Oh, man. But Shay Grumpy.
If Ruff makes a team over LaCastro, I'll be so pissed it won't be good.
Yeah.
Will Shea boycott
Shay's
the
getting ready to
games?
be pissed.
Will
Yep.
Shea boycott the games?
What did they say about a scorned woman? Oh, God, Joseph C. Drew L. Grumpy.
Well, there is a saying about that, right? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Oh, okay.
Drew says, it was a beautiful day in shitty South Florida. I went cycling for the first time in a long time. And I also got to see Mars and Venus while at dinner. Why is South Florida shitty? That's what I want to know. Nice weather.
We've got here Drew also Grumpy.
What seemingly no one in mainstream sports talks about is the failure of the Dallas Mavericks. They got fleeced by the Knicks twice. That set back the franchise years. Luka is also going to leave. You want to know why nobody talks about the Dallas Mavericks? Because they're irrelevant.
Because of the Dallas Mavericks.
That's right.
Got a comment here, Grumpy, from Joseph C.
Son X, what teams do you root for, by the way? I don't know if you've mentioned it before.
Oh gosh, so NFL, I really don't pull for a team. I kind of just pull for players that came from the University of Oklahoma. College, I pull for Oklahoma, and then basketball, I pull for Duke. College football, I pull for Oklahoma. Soccer, I pull for Real Madrid. Baseball, Yankees a little bit. I haven't watched them in years though. And then basketball, I don't really pull for a specific team in basketball. And then hockey, I kind of just dabble. I watch here and there.
You're a big Islander fan, isn't that right, X?
Yeah, I mean, I pull for the Islanders because you all pull for the Islanders. Yeah.
Oh, Frank says, hello, TJ and the Grub Hill Man. It gets hot in Florida. LOL. Played mini golf in the heat of the day. Ugh, I tell you. Yeah, it gets hot down there, especially
That's
this
true.
time of year. It's already starting to heat up. It sounds like the Mets made a rough trade. Oh, there it is, Drew.
We ripped it
Paul
the day it was done.
Paul O.C., Grumpy.
Guys, tomorrow, if we lose and Florida wins, let me tell you, it's time to panic. Well, I absolutely think we're going to lose tomorrow. I don't know if Florida's going to win, but we're going to lose a bunch of games now down the stretch. Like I said, Devils, we're losing to the Devils. Then I think we play, Washington? I don't know about that game. Then we play who after that? I think we play Tampa, Jersey, and Tampa. Those are 3 more losses. We're not beating good teams.
I was going to say, you know something I just realized? If FAU and Miami make it in the final, that's 2 Florida teams. I guess Florida just wins regardless.
There it is.
That just triggered in my head. Didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Shay says, I was so mad after the Ruff trade. I went live on Instagram. I was so pissed. One of the minor leagues involved reached out to me to make sure I was okay after the trade.
The connections.
Shay has connections. She knows it. I mean, she's special. James Farrell says Michigan wins in overtime, 2-1.
Nice. That was a fun game to watch.
Joseph C says the Mets released Cano a month into the season. They owed him $40 million. I don't see Ruff having a long leash. Yeah, Cano went somewhere else, didn't he? And I think he actually played and looked okay, but he's cashed. Shay says, I've got to say, what a change and a great one in talking more than 5 minutes of baseball. Now, Shay, it's because it's coming up on baseball season. See, that's why.
That's right.
So that's why we talk about it. We're seeing some injuries come up. Luis Severino, again, a lat injury. I mean, you got to think he's done. He missed how long with the lat injury the last couple of years? I mean, that's a devastating occurrence for the Yankees. Just when you think you have enough pitching, what do I always say, X? Just when you think you
never have enough pitching.
Right. Just when you think you have enough pitching, you need more pitching. And that's certainly the case with the Yankees with Luis Severino going to be out for an extended period of time.
Now, what's your reasoning behind these injuries, like a lat injury? What do you think the reasons behind that?
I think of the force that everyone's trying to throw the ball.
Yep.
The guys
or
are
swing.
Up. I'm sorry?
I said, or swinging the bat.
Yeah, well, Severino's a pitcher.
Yeah, I know he's a pitcher.
They're all jacked. All of them are muscle bound. Look at you see one Major League Baseball player, you see them all. They're all basically built the same. They're all between 5'10", 6'2", 200 to 225 pounds. That's the majority of the players in the league. They're all muscle bound. You tear muscles. That's what happens. Yeah. And they're all on something. Absolutely, they're on something. Absolutely. Every single Major League Baseball player is on something.
Oh, man. Let's continue along.
Alexander is the next one up from 9/11, if you want to pull that one up.
Okay, gotcha. Here you go. Alexander Grump.
I can't believe the crap that Epler has pulled, and Buck has been the biggest mistake so far. You keep Ruff and you send down Vientos, Batty/Beatty, and Escobar at a horrible spring. This is pathetic. Escobar is valuable, though. But, I mean, if you want to – he's a guy that you can bounce around the lineup. That's the one thing about that Escobar brings you is versatility. He can play short. He can play second. He can play third. He can play outfield in a pinch. He could play anywhere. I love Eduardo Escobar. I love his versatility. But if Beatty was that good, he should have been kept up. Ruff was a disastrous trade. We talked about it the night it was made, how bad it was, that it made no sense.
Alexander says Buck needs to go. You're not going to hear me saying that now. So let's talk some football then, Joel said. Shay said the Syracuse Mets will be fun to watch at the beginning of the season. Absolutely. And Druel said here, TJ, one question. Is it Rockwell or Roxwell? Roxanne. It's actually Roxanne. Joseph C. Grumpy.
I wonder if NFL fans go through so much withdrawal that they are willing to watch the XFL and the USFL.
I'm
The
sure there
gamblers
are.
The gamblers definitely.
Yep. Amen to that. Shay, Grumpy.
Would like to say that Vientos, has taken around a month to educate to each level in the minors. So I would think he would need a little bit more than a month. And that's the thing with young guys. The Mets are built as a team to win now, so you can afford to give these guys more reps in the minors. That's the one advantage to being a team that's ready to produce. This way, like I said earlier, if the guy continues to tear it up in the minors, you see the guy scuffling in the majors, that's when you make the move to bring him up.
Yep. Amen.
But I do believe that a lot of these teams keep prospects down in the minors for service time. Fully believe that.
What's up, Rob?
How's it
James
going?
F. said predictions in the new baseball season. Prediction for the MLB season, Grumpy and X.
Houston.
You think Houston's going to win it all?
Yeah. Who's going to be? I mean,
Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers managed to lose. They managed to beat themselves.
They're loaded, though.
Yeah, they were loaded last year and the year before. I mean, they're loaded every year. San Diego, maybe. It's all going to come down to injuries to your pitching staff.
Is Fernando Tatis still? He's not still suspended, is he?
Yes, he is.
Okay. When does he become unsuspended? I should ask.
I think 60 games.
60 games. Okay, so he'll still be back.
Though. Yeah, long time.
Yeah. Oof. I think
it'll be a year and a half between playing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the Padres.
What you thinking, San Diego?
Padres. Yep. Thinking Padres are a team to watch out for this year. I did see that, Alexander. We talked about both of those yesterday, that video and the poster, Alexander, yesterday on the show. Joseph C. said, with that mustache, I would say Gallagher is TJ's biggest comedic influence.
Do you know Gallagher is, TJ?
Guy who brought out that freaking watermelon, would smash the watermelon every show.
And you want to know what else? He used to wear a hat. You want to know why he wore a hat?
To cover his bald head.
Because he was bald.
Yes, I know. As I mentioned already, yes. Grumpy. Rob Grumpy.
There's Robin Williams, and then there's everyone else. Before that, Lenny Bruce, Richard Pryor, George Carlin. There were so many great comics back in the day. So many were so good. Now, today, nobody. I mean, Chappelle, maybe.
Oh, yeah, Chappelle's good.
But who else? I can't even name one. Who's afraid? He's the only guy who's not afraid to poke at social norms, and he gets away with it because he's a black guy, so he can poke at certain things. But, I mean, I can't even name another comic who is not afraid to poke at things. Can you name one? He's the only one. And they've tried to silence him, too.
I will say I do like Dave Chappelle. He always talks about the alphabet people are coming after me. He's like, yeah, so he's a good comic of today's age. There aren't a lot of great comics anymore, though.
Because they don't pick at social issues.
Because
you like Anthony Jeselnik, though. You used to like him.
Yeah, but he's limited.
Yeah.
He's limited too.
Oh, here you go, Drew. Now, Grumpy, I'll let you answer this because I'm about to roast your ass, Grumpy. Here you go, Grumpy.
Grumpy, would you consider Amy Schumer a stand-up comedian? I don't think she's funny. Okay.
She's not.
I like Amy Schumer, and she used to be funny.
Ugh.
She used to be funny. She's not anymore.
She stole a whole bunch of jokes. That's why she was funny.
Well, all comedians steal jokes. Sure. If you think that everyone came up with every one of their own jokes, it's not true.
A lot of them are the same, and they put a different spin on it, or they use different locations, or different names, or a little different situation. But yeah,
they tweak it for their personal situation. Yep. But I liked Amy Schumer when she was younger. I don't think she's funny anymore. She's involved in social issues now. I can't even remember the last time she did anything that was funny.
Didn't you like Louis C.K.?
I like Louis C.K. Oh, Louis C.K. He was good, but he got canceled.
Yeah. I remember he had his show. His show was pretty good.
Louis C.K. was real. He was another guy poking fun at social norms.
He was doing a lot of unsavory things. So was he masturbating in front of people,
No, here's the thing: you have to be a comedian to know what it's like. You get a whole bunch of comedians in a room. They do stupid shit. It's called trying to do funny things.
Sure.
This one, not all of a sudden, 20 years later, somebody's offended by it. but nobody said anything to him at the time. I mean, all you have to do, if somebody says something to somebody who's acting out or whatever, just says, if you just come up and be a man or a woman to you know what, that really is offending to me. And I'm going to guarantee you 9 times out of 10, the guy's going to say, you know what, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to do that. That's the thing with comedians. They're just trying to do things to get laughs. It's what they do. It's what their job is. I don't think they're trying to hurt anyone, really.
Yeah. I don't disagree, Grumpy. Got here. Rob says comedians are
social commentary.
True. Alexander. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, sorry. I was so pissed off about yesterday's game. I didn't get a chance to mention this. Why is everybody blaming Horvat or Mayfield on goal and not Bailey? Yeah, Bailey was the one who was the issue. Yeah, I didn't see anybody else. I just saw Bailey, but yeah.
There are always breakdowns. There are always breakdowns in every single game. And you know what? It just happens. The Islanders, Buffalo outplayed the Islanders yesterday. And if Varlamov doesn't move 6 inches off the post to get down in butterfly stance, he probably saves that, right? And the game goes overtime. I mean, I don't know. To me, there was nobody to blame for that loss yesterday, besides we played lackadaisically as a team.
I'll let you there. Next comment here, Grumpy.
When Albert Einstein plays Little League Baseball.
There it is. So, Joseph C. here, Grump.
Now, and here's the thing. The catcher is supposed to be the smartest player of the team, by the way.
They call the pitches.
They call defenses. They need to tell everyone where to go. That's what their job is. They're like the quarterback of the baseball team.
Maybe that base runner was the catcher for the other team, and she just outsmarted the other catcher.
Oh, maybe so. See, there you go. There's some thinking. The catcher isn't that smart because you always pay attention to the runner trying to score. LOL. True, but to me, the umpire, when she starts dancing around back there, out,
right? You should just immediately call them out.
You start backing away to the backstop, you're out.
Because it prevents any sort of potential injury where you're going to see contact and people run into each other, do something really dumb. I'm like,
she's also well out of the base path.
Yeah, that's
out.
QL, Grumpy.
Someone said Levis was closer to Brock Osweiler than Aaron Rodgers. Like, no, duh, bro.
Brock Osweiler. Yikes. Not a good comparison. You don't want to be thrown into the same team as Brock Osweiler. Oh, no.
He needs to work on some technical things with his feet. He absolutely does. And he's been working on them. I read the Todd McShay article and, certain things. And he's spot on. He's really good at analyzing quarterbacks. Better than TJ even.
Not better than me. Todd McShay, fraction of the analyst of quarterbacks that I am, Grumpy. It's been confirmed. Todd McShay. Kyle Bowler, 2.0.
Wow, Kyle Bowler. I love all the bullpen depth the Mets have with McFarland, Bringham, Yacobonis, Nagosek, Curtis, Santana, and Hernandez, 3 of which will probably make the team. A lot of depth. You know what they don't have, though? They don't have a closer. They do not have a closer.
Go ahead. Is that Caleb Presley? Is that him doing stand-up for Barstool? Caleb Presley. I like him. He's funny. Shea said Ken Griffey Jr. will make the 4th most amount of money out of any Reds player under contract this year. He hasn't played since 2010. I know. I saw that. That is nuts. Wow. Ken's 53 years old. 53 years old. The only players making more than him, Joey Votto, Mike Moustakas, Will Myers, and Ken Griffey Jr.
What does it tell you about Cincinnati?
Loser.
They suck.
Losers, right.
They suck.
They don't care about winning.
Yep.
When's the NFL draft and how much time is there between the draft and the season? The NFL draft is like April 17th or no, 27th or 28th, something like that.
4 weeks from this Thursday coming up.
Oof.
But don't worry, we have team workouts and then we have preseason as well.
There it is.
Then I think camp starts in July, the end of July, and the regular season starts in September.
Yep.
James S. said the Raiders will not repeat. No drafting and quarterback at number 7. The Raiders are going defense.
Latest, what people are saying is Jalen Carter, if he's available, will go to the Raiders at number 7, which I think would be a smart move, even though he was miserable in his pro day and has made a lot of questionable decisions. They desperately need interior line, defensive line help, and he makes their pass rush much better to go with Crosby and Chandler Jones.
Got a comment here from Drew L. Grumpy.
Going to the Raiders is a kiss of death for most players. They just wind up being criminals. Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who's the guy who's the defensive back who shot somebody or was accused of murder? Oh man, it's gonna haunt me. I gotta pull that up.
Well, I'll say one thing, Grump, about the draft. I don't remember who it was. There's a guy, offensive tackle for Oklahoma, who had literally out of the offense line, I think he had the worst scores out of everybody in the draft. Worst bench press, worst 40, worst vert. Literally everything was the worst, and he actually panned out in the league and is pretty good. I think he plays for the Ravens. One of the tackles for the Ravens, maybe.
Oh,
Brown. His last name might be Brown.
Dwayne.
Yeah, I saw a snippet on it. And they were talking about him. And
Not Orlando Brown Jr. Is that what you're talking about?
No,
I don't think it was him. I
He
can't
used to
remember
play
who it
for the
was.
Ravens back in the day.
Mr.
Okay.
Brown. Maybe it's Mr. Brown.
Oh fuck.
I can't remember who it was, but I remember seeing like a short snippet on it. But they were talking about him, and they're like, "Don't take everything from the draft as like whether or not a player can pan out."
That's what I was going to say. You know, when you look at combine results,
Or combine. I meant combine. Sorry.
right? I remember a guy, Mike Mamula, played for Boston College, and he was like the most tremendous physical specimen. He was defensive end, so much so that he was picked by the number 7 overall pick by the Eagles. And he was an absolute freaking bust in the pros. Like I said, they gear up for the combine. And to me, the best thing, the combine should just be a guide. All right, how much does athleticism these they have? Look at the film. The film tells you all you need to know about a player.
Sure. Yeah. The
More so
film
than
also
anything.
combines are important. Combine, it's like you want a little bit of both. You want a guy who does an extremely great job on film. I will tell you one thing, Paris Johnson, the offensive lineman for Ohio State. He's looking good. Paris Johnson Jr. looking good.
But if you look at a breakdown of the top 4 or 5 tackles, he's like looking at the numbers at what they did in college. The Peter Skoransky guy from Northwestern is number 1.
It was
And number
Orlando
2. Number 2 is DeJuan Jones, who plays right tackle for Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't think Paris Johnson Jr. is a great run blocker. That's what needs room improvement on. I gotta really watch and look over. That's what I'll be doing these next little bit of time. But James F says here, I won't get you guys too bored with my dribble of offensive linemen. I'll have
Line
to do
talk.
research. Yeah, offensive line, baby. Tony.
By the
Cheese
way,
is
TJ,
offensive
you were
line.
right. It was Orlando Brown Jr.
Okay, gotcha. James F says here, thank you. Raiders move to 7 will be the dumbest move to get rid of picks. The Raiders need picks. The Raiders should trade down and get more picks. Oh gosh. Frank says go UConn, and Joseph C said the NFL draft is at the end of April and preseason starts in August. Yes, I think it's like April 27th or 28th, something like that.
No, it's before then. Oh, I'm sorry.
The NFL draft is like
Like I said, 4
28th.
weeks from this Thursday coming up.
Okay. Frank says here Texas was forcing shots at the end. Oh, there. Oh, and Drew L says here Grumpy turned off the Gonzaga game to watch the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Not true. I had already watched that and deleted it. It was something else. I don't remember what it was.
Gungun said, "What is the proper condiment for hot dogs? Mustard or ketchup? And what? Mustard.
Nothing.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, ketchup. Ketchup. My God. Oh, I'm not a mustard
Plain.
guy. I'm more of a ketchup guy.
Bacon
Plain.
bits.
Plain
Ketchup.
hot dog.
I would do bacon bits.
A nice, even like a boiled dog, some ketchup on a nice boiled dog, or even, oh man, it's freaking summertime. I'm ready for some hot dogs. The lovely Paige doesn't like when I eat hot dogs, though.
Yeah, because you eat them, a package at a time. Here's the thing. Most people like mustard and usually sauerkraut on hot dogs.
I'm definitely ketchup. I don't know why the hell I said mustard.
Ketchup is not the number 1 condiment for hot dogs. It's not. It's mustard.
TJ, we need you to look it up. We need you to look it up.
No, we don't need to look that up. Frank says here, hit the thumbs up. That's right. Ketchup, mustard, and sauerkraut, please.
Yeah.
Ketchup and a little ketchup and sauerkraut. Mustard, a little ketchup and sauerkraut. Ugh. Man, just ketchup. That's all you need. A baldy with ketchup. That's it. Just a bald hot dog with ketchup on it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Joseph C said Jordan Walker 6'6", 260.
He got bigger from earlier in the show.
Damn, he grew himself another inch. He looks probably like 250, 6'5", 250.
He's big. He's a big guy.
Shay says here, oh, I didn't know. My bad. I fell asleep mid podcast or didn't watch that one on Thursday. It got. I need to get everything. I'm getting everything sorted with it, Shay. It will be up there in no time. Drew said, all I know is I lived in the 1850s. I'd tell Abe Lincoln to never go to the theater. Yeah.
Yep. Mary Todd wanted him to go to the theater.
Rob says, I'd tell him to duck.
There you go.
Like I said last week, no playoffs. Bank it. Talking about, I'm sure, maybe the Knicks, because I know Rob is not
the Islanders.
No, Rob is a big Islander fan, right?
Maybe he's given up. No, there's Rob and then there's Rob.
Oh,
there's
gosh.
two different ones.
Oh gosh, maybe that's what it is. Anthony Rizzi says, how much longer do we have to wait for Rodgers to the Jets? It's killing me. Probably about 3.5 weeks.
The trade needs to be done before the draft.
I think it should be done a few days before the draft.
Because you lose any leverage you might have.
Yep.
Until after the draft. I mean, I don't know what the holdup is. Green Bay holding out for a number 1 pick is just foolish. You cannot let Aaron Rodgers, because you know he's going to have an attitude, go into camp with Jordan Love
and stir up shit.
Because do you think he's going to give 100% to Green Bay this year if he goes back?
No, absolutely not. He's going to be a freaking problem.
Yep, he absolutely is.
Absolute
I'll
problem.
pull a Marshawn Lynch. I'm here so I don't get fined.
I think he's going to be. It's not even going to be that. Marshawn Lynch is just kind of existing. Aaron Rodgers is going to be like a scornful ex-girlfriend or a scornful ex-lover, where he's going to do anything he can to screw up operations. He doesn't strike me as a guy who's just going to sit quietly. But Shay said Cano went to the Padres and
then Atlanta.
And then Atlanta. Joseph C. said 23 starts for Severino since 2018. My God, he's been that injured.
Yeah.
Oh. Rob said, we need Mickey.
Lolich.
What the hell is this?
Mickey Lolich is his name. He was kind of most of his weight was distributed in the middle of his body. Left-handed pitcher, pitched for Detroit, had a couple of phenomenal years, from like 70 to 72, 73 for Detroit Tigers. Look up his numbers. You look at numbers like that, it's like, holy shit, that guy'd win a Cy Young one. He never won a Cy Young there. Never.
I'm pulling up a picture first of Mickey Lolich.
Mickey Lolich. Look up his stats, too, because
I will pull them up in a second.
Game's a lot different nowadays, though.
Yep.
Get a lot more strikeouts nowadays.
Lefty pitcher. And honestly, he doesn't look that big. Back when I was a kid, I thought, man, he looked really big. Now he's just a regular guy.
Yeah. I was about to say, people have gotten a little bit. He did win a World Series.
Funny. It's funny. When I was younger, I'm like, man, he's fat. Now I look at him, man, he's thin.
You're right. His numbers would be in the talks of, maybe he'll win a Cy Young or something. He was second and third in voting in Cy Young before. He pitched a shit ton of innings. My God, 376 innings in a year once. Oh, and he had 29 complete games in a season. Holy shit.
Pull up Steve Carlton's numbers. Steve Carlton.
I'll pull that in a second. Let's finish our marveling at
and the catcher was Bill Freehan, was there forever for the Tigers as a catcher. I love that. I tell you what, baseball was so much more enjoyable back in the day because the guys stayed with the teams mostly. There was no free agency. It was just if somebody was traded. It was only trades. So you got to really identify with the players year after year after year. That's how they became real fan favorites. Are there any real fan favorites of, I love this guy, saw him his whole career? How many guys do that nowadays?
Not many.
Not many at all.
Yeah, Steve Carlton had multiple years with 40 or 41 complete games. He had a year with 41 complete games of a 1.97 ERA. Yeah.
Players follow the money.
And I don't blame them.
Yeah, Steve Carlton, hell of a ball player.
He had a year where I think he was 27-3, and the Phillies only won 59 games that year. He was 27-3. They were 59 and 103.
Frank says here the Islanders will win tomorrow versus Tampa. Alexander said the XFL can't even fill up a stadium. What are you saying, Grom?
I thought the Islanders played the Devils tomorrow. It's Tampa.
They play the Devils. They play the Devils tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they played the Devils. Shea said, adjust, not adjudicate.
That was from an earlier.
No, don't be sorry, Alexander. No, I was just saying we talked about it yesterday, and the Orioles could be a sneaky team, to be honest. Yeah, they're young too.
Yeah, let's see. Do they have the pitching?
Tommy Shredder, Grumpy.
I'm okay with Grump 11 TB12. He made Elite Eli a 2-time Super Bowl champion and punched his ticket to Canton. Now, see, there's no way. I don't care. I don't care that he won 2 Super Bowls. Eli Manning should never be in the Hall of Fame. Sorry.
I think he makes it.
I think he makes it too, but he shouldn't.
Undeservingly so. I think he makes the Hall of Fame.
I don't even think he had a winning record in his career.
He won the 2 most important games, though.
Yeah, still.
When all was said and done, he had a losing record as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I realize it's not the be-all, end-all, but, you know, if you want to be in a Hall of Fame, your team should have some type of success. It's not like he ever led the league in anything. I mean, he never led the league in anything, ever. I don't see how a guy like Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Now, would you say he was the reason why the Giants won those Super Bowls, or would you say it was more so defense?
It was their defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second year, Brady was throwing to defensive backs at the end. They had so many injuries.
He was throwing to a bunch of DB Coopers?
A bunch of DB Coopers. Or they had defense. They had, I think, Troy Brown or somebody was playing defensive back.
Well,
Alexander said Chris Rock is a good one, 2 talking comedians. I will say this about Eli. It helps that he's got the Manning name, because Archie Manning was a beloved quarterback who played on a shit squad his entire career there in the Saints, and then Peyton, his brother. It helps having the Manning name, and it helps him being in the media realm afterwards. People who work in the media realm after they get done playing, they look more favorable upon their Hall of Fame votes. Always
help them being in New York.
Sure, that too. Absolutely, the big market for certain.
Yep.
Shea said, I wouldn't say the Oilers make the playoffs, but I could see them having a good season and heading in the right direction.
They kind of did that last year. They fell off a little bit at the end, but they were playing much better at the end of last year as well. Joseph C. says, if you want a really great comic who isn't afraid to poke at things, listen to Ali Wong. She is super funny. She used to be on the TV show American Housewife also.
Huh. Paulo C said, yes, DJ, the San Diego Padres are a team to watch out for. I think so. Grumpy, look up
Stanhope. You'll love him. I remember the name, but I can't tell you what he looks like.
There we go. We got Ali Wong and Doug Stanhope. Those guys to look up, or individuals to look up. Tommy Shredder said, how do we feel about the Knicks signing DeQuan to a multi-year deal?
You'll have to ask Drew.
You'll have to ask X. What do we think about that, X?
I don't even know who DeQuan is.
DeQuan Jeffries. Okay.
Is that his name?
Yeah, DeQuan Jeffries. Let's pull up.
No idea who he even is. I know a limited amount of basketball. Very limited.
He was an undrafted guy.
Wow.
No, he's from DeQuan is in Memphis, I think, for the Grizzlies. Shit, I don't know. This is not. Yeah, you got to ask Drew. Is right. Meatball Parm, Grumpy.
Grumpy, you didn't put TJ and X in hockey when they were kids. I can see TJ as more of the ballet type. Nope, they both played hockey, and TJ was pretty good. He was really good straight line speed, but you know those big guys like those 18-wheelers, they kind of need to make a wide turns. You know what I mean? And X wasn't the greatest skater, but he had hockey sense, and he always was in the right place at the right time, and scored a lot of goals just because of he was able to get in the right spot.
I'm a better skater now than I was as a kid, but I used to have to use my stick to hold myself up as like a tripod. Otherwise, I would fall down.
Tommy Shredder said, Amy Schumer's a disgusting pig. Old Chucky's niece. Grumpy is right. She was good back in the day, but no more.
Yeah, I enjoyed her. I liked her back in the day, and I liked her when she was on the roast a couple of times. But yeah, her later stuff, she's just not.
She was not nice to Patrice O'Neal, and Patrice O'Neal would just roast.
But you know, it was funny as shit. Now you couldn't tell a joke. You could not tell jokes like that today.
Nope.
You could not tell jokes like that today.
I'll say, I don't know. I know somebody mentioned Chris Rock. He actually did put out a new, I think a new stand-up thing that he did, and it actually talked about the slap
Yeah, I'm sure. That was as soon as he got slapped, he's like, this is the best thing that's ever happened.
Well,
This is
he
the best thing
released
that's
it.
happened since
He
my career."
released it right before the Oscars
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, he was going on tour too around that time period. That was the best thing that could happen to him. Make Chris Rock relevant again, because Chris Rock was down to a spot where I'm just acting on Grown Ups 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I like him. I like him in those movies, though. I like.
I do too, but that's not the best thing for a career. Come on.
Okay, but he's in his
He's with
50s,
Kevin James.
right? He's in his 50s. He's friends with Sandler, so any movie that he has, Sandler will put him in.
Yep,
and they sell.
And here's the thing: you don't see really comedians doing. There's not comedy clubs all over the place anymore. There just isn't.
Yep.
Usually they'll do like a show. It'll usually be a show, and it'll happen maybe once every month, once every couple of months, that they'll have a comedian come in and do a show. That's it. I mean, you used to have back in the day? I think it was like every week.
Every weekend, somebody was coming through town, particularly in New York for certain, all over the place. But even Charlotte, they had a number of comedy clubs, and the guys would just do the circuit every single weekend. Not anymore. Don't see it.
Good said, Grumpy, what's the best plant-based crap to eat / enjoy?
I got to say there's nothing.
Incognito.
Grumpy doesn't eat anything plant-based. Shay says, fun fact last year, Stefan, how the hell do you pronounce this name?
Nogasek
signed a hockey puck for me. And then another game, he called me down to the field because I had something for him. I have video proof. Look at this. Shay is connected. Shay's connected.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's the only thing I know. And no, TJ, it's Morgan Wallen. Okay. I got that when I live streamed a concert. Okay. Well, there it is. And all I know is it's my turn now. Drew L says, James F said, wait, stop, Grumpy. You're telling me that George Carlin stole jokes? He was a genius. He was a genius, an original person as well.
He was, but that's what he morphed into. It's not like when he first started stand-up, he came out with full-form storylines. That wasn't the case.
Tommy Shutter said, what's going on with fantasy baseball, TJ? I'm about to make a post. I got to make the league first. I'm going to make a post on all of our social media, TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, as well as the Honors Never Said I, Twitter, Facebook, and also, we're going to make a post about it asking if you want to be in the fantasy baseball. We'll just need your email address, and we'll go ahead and create a fantasy baseball league. But make sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, so we can get it out to you guys. Gungoon said, why isn't Jim Plunkett in the Hall of Fame? He hasn't kissed enough tookuses.
And you know what? It's funny because I think both of his parents are either deaf or blind. So you think, and here's the thing. Think about a resurrection story. Went to Stanford won the Heisman Trophy, drafted first overall by the New England Patriots, takes a hellacious beating there. They trade him to San Francisco, where he takes another beating. Al Davis picks him up for nothing. He has him sit on the bench, I think, for 2 years. Then Dan Pastorini got hurt or whatever. They brought him in after he sat on the bench, and he won Super Bowls and played till he was like 37, 38, something like that, and won 2 Super Bowls in his 30s.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, to me, that should be
Ultimate
Hall of Fame
comeback
worthy.
story.
I mean, just the story itself.
Shay's got a zoomed-in picture of Morgan Wallen saying,
Wallen.
he said draft is Tuesday, Tommy. Yep, draft's going to be Tuesday. Fantasy baseball draft is going to be Tuesday. I'll join the fantasy. I'm not good at fantasy, though. No, Shay, use all the baseball knowledge you've got, and you're going to clean up. And agreed, said Rob. Rob said agreed on Jim Plunkett. Shay said TJ likes his hot dogs with a bit of mold on the bun. Sorry, I had to. Yes, and a little bit of mold on the cheese, too. Sure. Gungoon says, what is the most vile item TJ ever ingested?
Oh,
I'll let you answer, Grumpy. I don't even remember what I'm like, just kind of is there.
TJ's like a trash can. He didn't eat anything.
I don't know.
Oh, that man witch that you made was pretty gross.
That was many years ago. That was pretty fantastic.
You even remember that's just
Just plopped on 2 pieces of white bread, got like some sausage balls, some bacon, just like an assortment of meat.
Every meat that was in the refrigerator or the freezer that was thawed out, I think you put on this
That
sandwich.
was leftovers. It was just a leftover sandwich full
God.
of different meat, just stacked on a sandwich.
It
of
was
white bread.
disgusting. Ugh.
Hideous.
And
Good
I think he
times.
threw it in the microwave. Ugh.
Oh man, Grumpy, were you an Ultimate Warrior type of guy?
No, I'm a Hulk Hogan guy, not a Warrior guy.
There it is. Drew L said, I haven't played fantasy baseball either, so don't worry. Oh gosh. D-Cut says, good evening. What's up, D-Cut?
What's up?
Rob G. That's right. Rob G is the steadfast Islander fan. He says, yes. Okay, more optimistic. Rob says the Islanders are going to win tomorrow. That's right. They're going to beat the New Jersey Devils. And I need a big win tomorrow. Oh, there it is. And they need the Islanders to win. Yes, yes, yes. Buenos noches there. Paulo C said, guys, looking at the schedule, I think we're in deep, deep trouble. We're going to find out. I still think we make the postseason.
Okay. The whole thing is, I just don't think the teams, Pittsburgh and Washington, do you think that they can do the deal on their part? I think that's the biggest issue. We have a 3-point lead. I think
Pittsburgh's 1 point behind us with a game in hand.
Okay.
We do have a few point lead over the Florida Panthers. Yep. So it just depends what we do over the next few games. Rob G said Varlamov played awesome last night. He would be a starting goalie for many teams. Absolutely. You're right, Rob G, which makes not trading him just mind numbing. Gungun said, TJ, how popular was hitchhiking on Long Island in the 70s?
I'm sure that's for me.
Grumpy, how popular was hitchhiking in Long Island during the 70s? And did you ever hitchhike to an Islander game in Nassau Coliseum?
I never hitchhiked to an Islander game. But yeah, a lot of people hitchhiked. I didn't. I was fortunate. I could, either had to drive or I was able to walk to work if I had to.
The Blue Bomber.
The Blue Bomber. Yeah.
Shay said, D-Cut, how can you get hired to the podcast if you're over 2 hours late? That's worse than TJ.
Oh, shit. Oh. Shay throwing shade at D-Cut.
Oh my God. I think it should be fire TJ, hire Drew's Reviews Music and Shay. There we go. Gungun says Carlin and Pryor were kings of the mountain. Andy Kaufman was also one of the most original and daring comedians.
Andy Kaufman was really good too. What you're talking about 70s, right? That's 70s.
Shay said it's pronounced Nagosic. I don't know if it helps with the pronunciation spelled for you guys. Yes, it for certain does. Oh, D-Cut says, fire TJ, hire Shay because D-Cut was late. Oh, there it is. Rob says both parents were blind.
Jim Plunkett. I mean, geez, come on.
D-Cut said, I don't recognize TJ with sleeves. The only reason I've got sleeves on today is because I got a little sunburn.
Oh my gosh, that's hideous.
Drew said, I mean, TJ just moldy cheese since he eats it. Yeah, you just take the top layer off. Just keep on eating. No pee-pee breaks for TJ tonight. Is it a first? No, I did take a bathroom break. It was a little earlier.
He used his little hydrogen flask.
No, I did use restroom. JP said, presuming the Islanders finish in 8th place in the conference, should those fantastic owners hang a banner titled Toilet Bowl Champions of 2023 before the game 3 of the series? Good evening. What's up, JP? I don't know. There are going to be Islander fans that will still call the season a success because we made the postseason, even if we get swept by Boston. Oh, this year was a success. We overcame the odds of the first-year head coach. This is a successful season. There will be fans like that out there. That's just an average Tuesday for TJ. Man, ingesting moldy cheese. And we got here. Gungun says, was the Blue Bomber a pimp wagon?
Why don't you talk about the Blue Bomber, Grump?
It was an old car that, gosh, I think I got it for like $300. And it was back in the day where, if I knew somebody who was an auto mechanic, so I used to bring them to pass it through inspection and stuff like that. But it had a lot of issues. You could not use the back seat. And if you had to sit in the front seat to start the car, I used to tell the warden, I said, ass up, and she'd have to lift her butt up, then I could start the car. The brake, for the brake pad, I had a string on it because the mechanism was bent So the brake light was always on. So when I park it, I had a little hanger that I put around the gear shift and around the brake pad on the bottom, so I could hold it up, so the light wouldn't be on all the time. And then I had a string tied, so when I'm driving, I'd hold the string up as I was driving to make sure the brake light wasn't on, and then I'd release it and step on the brake when I had to. That car lasted me a long time.
The Blue Bomber.
I've never heard the story of the Blue Bomber.
The back
I've heard
seat,
multiple times.
the back seat was totally torn up. Looked like a bobcat got loose back there. But for $300, the car lasted me, I don't know, 45 years, something like that.
There you go.
It was a pimp wagon. Then to answer your question, doing the way he's describing.
Hey, it was able to get the warden.
There it is. D-Cut says Rodney Dangerfield was great too.
Rodney Dangerfield was great.
Joseph C said, hard to believe Carlin went from the hippy dippy weatherman jokes to talking about people deserving inoperable tumors at the base of their spines.
Go figure.
Oh man. Oh, good gracious.
I always loved, my favorite thing. A lot of people say differences between baseball and football, which are great. But for me, it was talking about organized religion. To me, was the best because it was so true and so funny. Where God is all omnipresent, but he always needed money. He couldn't balance a checkbook. He could create the heaven and the earth in 7 days, but he couldn't handle money. So he always needs more and more money. So I always thought it was a funny take on it. It makes you think. It really does, and that's what good comics do. They make you think.
DK said, are you guys going live day 1 and 2 for the draft? Definitely day 1. Absolutely day 1 of draft, just like always. That's how this podcast originally started. Day 1 of draft, we'll definitely go live. Joseph C said, my dad used to know somebody who worked at the Beacon Theater in New York City and got tickets to see him do his comedy special right after 9/11. It was amazing. Joseph C.
Really good.
And Tommy Shredder said, guys, I have to ask you, who is the greatest Islander of all times? Tonelli, Trottier, Smith, Goring, Bossy. Can you rank them, Grump?
Okay. I'm going to go, See, I put Gillies in there too. But I'm going to say, Trottier was number 1 for me, I think. You're leaving out Potvin. But if you just look at this 5, Trottier and Bossy, 1A, 1B. Then after that, I'd go Tonelli, Goring, and Smith. I was never as high on Smith as a lot of people.
I was about to say, damn, Grump.
I'm sorry, TJ.
No Nystrom?
Nystrom, no. But the Gillies, to me, Gillies and Potvin are above everyone except for Trottier and Bossy.
I put Bossy as 1.
Okay.
That's fine.
And Potvin's right up there at the top. He's the top 3 are Bossy, Trottier, and Potvin, yes.
Yep. Yes. And got here Goon saying, Grumpy, what is more satisfying, the Blue Bomber or Belly Bombers?
The Blue Bomber, because I tell you what, I obviously remember that story, and it's been a billion years.
Apex Legend says, Grumpy old man, a church costs money, just like a building costs money to run. Everything costs money. You need Jesus, Grumpy.
But his thing was so funny. I just love how he laid it out there. He was not one for organ. I think he said he believed in the sun because it was something he could see. It came up every day. Just interesting.
D-Cut says Sun X fades after 10 p.m. Gen Zs are mentally weak. Good night, you guys. I'm going to continue to watch Young Sheldon. I paused it just to watch the pod. Thank you, Shay. Thanks for tuning in. And then Goon says, TJ, pull up George Collins' opening monologue of life is worth losing. Sheer genius. Goon, I'm kind of tempted not to do it just simply because of how much and how often we've had the podcast ripped down. I'm like, I don't need to have that ripped down again.
Podcast is on the red list right now.
The amount of time, it's always anytime we do soccer, WWE, maybe we're good to do George Carlin. You know what? I'm down for it now.
It's more than a 5-minute segment, so maybe watch it some other time.
I'm sorry.
It's definitely worth a look. I love George Carlin.
I was about to say, on the red list, I think if we played something like that, somebody else's video for more than 5 minutes, I don't know with the way things have gone here. I'm actually, I'll wait till the podcast is over. That's what I'm talking about,
There you go.
Shay. I turned off the TV today and some drone league was on. It was crazy.
Drone? Oh, like the drone flying?
Oh,
league?
yeah, that stuff is so dumb. Yeah.
I really don't understand. Those things go really quick. I don't understand how they can control those things.
Neither do I.
that.
They're
You know what it
flying
is?
around these obstacle courses.
You know what it is? It's so we can have people who have no athletic ability can somehow try to become famous. Look, I'm an athlete. I fly a freaking drone.
Grump, what are your thoughts about Major League Gaming?
Another loser. They're more losers living in their parents' basement.
That was a triggering point for Grumpy right there.
They're all the same.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Read here. We got Tommy Schrader, Grumpy.
Why are you wearing two watches? Central and Eastern? No, one's a Fitbit and the other one's an Apple Watch.
Oh
Double
man.
steps.
So I can be tracked all around the country using the Apple Watch.
Oh, there it is. Hold on.
Mhm.
Let's put this up. Now, this is a 3-minute one. There was one that was 7 minutes, and there's one that's 3 minutes. I'm sorry, this won't be the whole portion, but we'll try here.
Thank you. I'm a modern man, a man for the millennium, digital and smoke-free, a diversified, multicultural, postmodern deconstructionist, politically, anatomically, and ecologically incorrect. I've been uplinked and downloaded. I've been inputted and outsourced. I know the upside of downsizing. I know the downside of upgrading. I'm a high-tech lowlife, a cutting-edge, state-of-the-art, bi-coastal multitasker, and I can give you a gigabyte in a nanosecond. I'm new wave, but I'm old school, and my inner child is outward bound. I'm a hot-wired, heat-seeking, warm-hearted, cool customer, voice-activated and biodegradable. I interface with my database. My database is in cyberspace, so I'm interactive, I'm hyperactive, and from time to time, I'm radioactive.
He's old at this point, too.
Yeah, you
Behind the 8 ball, ahead of the curve, riding the wave, dodging the bullet, pushing the envelope. I'm on point, on task, on message, and off drugs. I got no need for coke and speed. I got no urge to binge and purge. I'm in the moment, on the edge, over the top, but under the radar. A high concept, low profile, medium range ballistic missionary. A streetwise smart bomb. A Top Gun bottom feeder. I wear power ties. I tell power lies. I take power naps. I run victory laps. I'm a totally ongoing Bigfoot slam dunk rainmaker with a proactive outreach. A raging workaholic. A working rageaholic. Out of rehab and in denial. I got a personal trainer, a personal shopper, a personal assistant, and a personal agenda. You can't shut me up. You can't dumb me down because I'm tireless and I'm wireless. I'm an alpha male on beta blockers. I'm a non-believer and an overachiever, laid back but fashion forward, up front, down home, low rent, high maintenance, supersized, long-lasting, high-definition, fast-acting, oven-ready, and built to last. I'm a hands-on, foot-loose, knee-jerk head case, prematurely post-traumatic, and I have a love child who sends me hate mail. But I'm feeling, I'm caring, I'm healing, I'm sharing. A supportive, bonding, nurturing primary caregiver. My output is down, but my income is up. I take a short position on the long bond, and my revenue stream has its own cash flow. I read junk mail, I eat junk food, I buy junk bonds, I watch trash sports. I'm gender-specific, capital-intensive, user-friendly, and lactose-intolerant. I like rough sex. I like tough love. I use the F word in my email, and the software on my hard drive is hardcore, no soft porn. I bought a microwave at a mini mall. I bought a minivan at a mega store. I eat fast food in the slow lane. I'm toll-free, bite-sized, ready to wear, and I come in all sizes. A fully equipped, factory-authorized, hospital-tested, clinically proven, scientifically formulated medical miracle. I've been pre-washed, pre-cooked, preheated, pre-screened, pre-approved, pre-packaged, post-dated, freeze-dried, double-wrapped, vacuum-packed, and I have an unlimited broadband capacity. I'm a rude dude, but I'm the real deal. Lean and mean, cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Rough, tough, and hard to bluff. I take it slow. I go with the flow. I ride with the tide. I got glide in my stride. Driving and moving, sailing and spinning, jiving and grooving, wailing and winning. I don't snooze, so I don't lose. I keep the pedal to the metal and the rubber on the road. I party hardy, and lunchtime is crunch time. I'm hanging in, there ain't no doubt, and I'm hanging tough, over and out.
There it is, 2005.
Well,
George Carlin Grumpy.
Can't think of a better way to end the show than that.
There we go. Absolutely. Can't say it any better than that. Thank you so much, number one, Grumpy and Sunex. What do you want to say, Grumpy, before we wrap things up?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ, the grumpy old man, and Son X.
There we go. And Son X, what do you want to say before we wrap things up?
Just want to thank everybody for coming out and listening. I hope you all enjoyed the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for commenting, tuning in, and listening to the show. We'll be with you guys live this Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We do have a few comments here real quick. Patrice O'Neill, Taylor Tomlinson, and I like this one.
Yeah, Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was really funny too.
Oh, Bill Hicks also. Andrew L said, I would love to see TJ try to read everything he just said in one go.
No chance. Think about the memory you have to have. I mean, he worked. I wonder how long it took him to work on that bit.
A while. And Joseph, he said, great show as always. Good night. Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. And George Collin was a genius. Love that segment. All time great. And hey, a factoid, Carlin was a big Mets fan. Shay says, hopefully we'll see no stash on TJ on Thursday. No promises, Shay. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you guys Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.